If you're hearing my voice or seeing my face, you're probably wondering why on earth there's another Down But Not Out when we just released an episode a couple days ago. Well, the answer is the gentleman in the middle. He was a major winner just about half a year ago. And as of yesterday, well, yesterday from when this was being recorded, it'll be about 2 days when you're listening, he is now an inactive member of M80. Matt, you said it yourself. You woke up to the news you'd been dropped. You seemed just as surprised as all the rest of us. I was out. I think I was getting groceries and somebody texted me being like, Hotan got dropped? And I was like, excuse me? And of course, the first thing I do is run to Twitter to see if that's true. Obviously, a surprising situation. And while I will say welcome to the show, I'd rather you be on the team and not here on the podcast. Today's episode is a surprise emergency DBNO to talk about Hotancold's journey on M80 and what comes next for him. Welcome, everybody, into the show. Matt, what happened?
Okay. I mean, that's a pretty broad question. What do we want me to go into?
Why did the Eagles draft? No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna go through. We're gonna go through a timeline basically from Munich onwards, because the last time you were on the show was actually after Munich won the major. This is your fourth appearance on the show, I believe. You were here. You joined us for Beast Coast. Is that correct? When you won the major, and then so this will be your fourth time on the show. You were on, of course, after SSG and after DZ dropped you. So typically you either come on to celebrate or to grieve. There's no in between.
Yep.
I guess we'll start chronologically, but first things first, just for everybody that are watching, walk us through what happened yesterday.
Okay. Well, I woke up, checked my phone. My eyes like this. I can't see. I see a Swedish WhatsApp number. I'm like, oh, okay, it's Fabian. What does Fabian want? Said, I can actually just read it. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Matt, when you are up and available, can you give me a call? I got bad news that I need to share with you. Okay. I look at that. I'm like, well, it's over. What other news am I being personally talked about? So talk to him for like 5 to 10 minutes. Just he said, hey, like, there's nothing I can really do. The team wants to keep you, but the org wants to get rid of you. And that's kind of that. So then I kind of just shut out everyone else in the world. Took my own time, walked around the neighborhood, came back, hopped on stream to just get my mind off of things. And then I'm streaming and I have someone in my chat come in, yo, why are you moved to the inactive roster? I'm like, how does this guy know that I just got benched? Like, and then M80 never told me that they were gonna announce it, which is cool. I like that they announced it early because it gives me better options, right? But they can at least say, hey, we're gonna announce you being on the bench today. Or right when I'm streaming, that would have been pretty cool. But yeah, that's about it. That was that.
Everybody that gets dropped immediately hops on stream. It tends to be a very lucrative stream. When Shiko did his stream after he got benched from Falcons, he probably got a land speed record for most subs. Were the good people of Twitch kind to you from a financial perspective, Matt?
I don't think they were as kind as they were to Shiko, but I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining. It was a good stream.
I looked over. I saw a couple hundred.
100?
I saw a couple hundred.
100 subs?
Oh, no, subs.
Viewers.
People were definitely flocking in. I mean, I was streaming at the time as well, and everyone just kept coming. Did you hear Matt got dropped? Did you hear Matt got dropped? Did you hear Matt got dropped? What are your thoughts? Because everyone knows, I mean, we're pretty close. Longest teammates in history of Siege. We're like, what, number 6 or number 5? I'm not going to say 7.
Could have been longer.
You, just to clear it up, so this was an org decision then? Like,
as far as I know, unless I'm getting lied to, which I don't think I am, it was completely an org decision. Which, I mean, I can understand why an org would want to do that decision, looking at my results, or not my results, but more so just the way I've been playing. But, I mean, I don't agree with it, obviously.
When you say org decision, where does Fabian fall in that? Is he on the org side of things, or is he on the team side of things, or is he weirdly straddling both?
See, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the talks that Fabian has with the org personally, so he could be telling me different things than what he's telling them. But as far as I know, I mean, the last thing he told me is like, I don't want you gone. So I would say he's more on our side. He probably tries to falter in between because, I mean, kind of has to. He's the coach of the team. So
I was going to say Fabian is a lot of things, but you've worked with him closer than I have. I just know him as a friend and a person. He doesn't strike me as the type of guy who'd lie. Yeah. Like if he made that call, I feel like he would own it and say like, Matt, I have to talk to you. Like I made the decision.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he lied either, but I mean, I don't know how much he actually like fought to keep me or if that was even possible, you know?
Yeah. Very, very blunt. I think we all know as Fabian. So like, yeah, he's somebody, because in the past, Matt, you know, you might have heard from coaches or, you know, that you've been dropped multiple times. Maybe they say they didn't want to do it, but you never know. Like that's just esports at the end of the day. It is kind of shady at times.
Yeah.
That people don't talk about. And maybe you can't talk about this next thing, but I'm kind of curious, like the players' reception. Like I'm assuming then did multiple like reach out to you? Like what was kind of conversations? If there's anything you can kind of share there.
I haven't really talked to Gav or Sean yet. But as far as like D and Liam, I mean, I live with D, so
right.
You know, I see him right after. I mean, well, honestly, I didn't really see him throughout the day because I went on a walk, streamed, and then he just was doing his own thing and then went to the gym. So we only saw each other late at night. But are you eating something spicy or something?
Yeah, so I diced up a chili. I diced up a chili in my pasta. And you went to say something, and right as like you said it, I went to like hiccup or something, and I swallowed the whole like half the chili.
It's all right. We could be sad.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as D, he basically said that he was really sad and that when Fabian called him, he got into tears. So I think he's probably the one that's getting hit by that the hardest because, I mean, we live together. We're basically like, you know, best friends at this point. Liam or Ashn called me and just said, I think he's kind of scarred because I always said that he was the one who cut me off SSG. So he was like very adamant. I was like, Matt, like I had nothing to do with this. I'm like, dude, I already know. Like, you don't got to say that. He's like, I love you. I was like, I love you too. I wish I could team with you. I mean, that was basically that.
I do think whether, you know, they're as caught off guard as you are, I do think it's good that, you know, people still have your back. You know, I remember when we did the DZ show, or the DZ episode with you, Skies was in chat because we used to do them live. And I think Skies openly said, like, he wouldn't have left if you hadn't been dropped, if memory serves correctly. Like, you know, and you talk to just about any of your former teammates, and they'll all trip over themselves to talk about, you know, how nice of a guy you are and how good of a teammate you are and how you'll just, I mean, even hell, Mint references you a fair bit on this show. And I mean, it's always glowing. And I just say, like, obviously people become different when competitions are ongoing, and maybe in the server you're a bit of an asshole, maybe you're not. Who knows? I don't game with you. I would be surprised if you are. But I can tell you right now, you are easily one of the most pleasant people that I deal with in this community in any capacity. But especially at LAN, you're kind, you're soft, you're gentle, you're funny, you're all the things that make a person good. And if those translate to a teammate, I can absolutely understand why so many of the players don't want to ever move on from you. It just, frankly, I mean, obviously this really isn't going to help, but it's like, it fucking sucks that you just keep getting shuffled off of these teams, especially like when you find success on them. Like, you've won 2 majors in the last, 2.5 years? Like, there's a tiny list of people who can say that.
Yeah. I mean, that's my initial thought too, but at the same time, it's still like at the end of the day, my fault for getting cut in a sense, you know, at least I look at it like that. Like there's a lot that I could have done differently or been better on these past 6 months where I wouldn't have to worry about losing my job.
I want to ask just last question before we go all the way back to just after Munich. What do you think you could have done better? If you have any examples, it can be basic stuff, it can be specific stuff.
I think the past 6 months have been just like mentally the most draining for me. So just kind of losing myself in terms of being dialed in calling and not getting tunneled into my own play. Because, I could be going negative 30 like I did, and we could still be winning if I was calling good. But, the calling comes and goes sometimes. I think with every IGL, they probably feel the same thing. It's very hard to stay consistent in your calling or just like be in the flow state of it. So just putting more focus into that, I think, would have saved me.
It is a bit surprising to me, and obviously, Mint can jump in here because he sees the ball better than I do when it's on the court. But for me, it's like, yeah, there he goes. He drained it. From the eye test, which is no numbers back this up, I feel like there are worse IGLs that have been given far more rope. And I'm a little curious look, honestly, like, I hate to say this. Let's look at our good friend Troy. Troy's had consistently some of the worst numbers for quite a while. SR has had less success than M80. Like, at least over the last 6, 7, 8 months.
Yeah.
I did not do that number deliberately. But
I like how you added the 8 in.
Of course.
I had to. You got him, man. My brain is fried. But it's like, you look at people like this and it's like, they've been given a lot of rope. And I think you don't strike me as the type of guy to get bitter about that, but why do you think M80 moved on so quickly when other orgs and other teams have shown a reluctance to do so?
I don't know. That's kind of a landslide of a question because most of those decisions are made by the owner. So that's kind of his thinking. I don't know exactly what he's thinking, but I would assume that, we bombed out of SI, didn't make this major. What's the only way an org owner could get his hands in to change things up? And that's making changes.
For clarification here, is Marco the owner? Because Marco's obviously the name that everybody hears. And I don't want to say he's made like the boss of M80 his personality, because I don't think he has. But he's certainly in a position of authority. Is there somebody above Marco, or is Marco the guy?
No, I'm pretty sure Marco's the guy. I don't think there's anyone above him.
Okay.
See, I'd almost see that he kind of is the boss. Ever since M80 kind of was in the scene, it always kind of reminded me of like old school DZ, man. I don't know if you agree with that, but like, even on DZ, we would see like him as like the Zach father figure. And then they'd always have like so many analysts and coaches, and like they would bring everybody out. Like he would fly out to the games, the Luxor.
Yeah.
Way back on that, you know what I mean?
Sorry to interrupt the show, but I do have a small teaser to give you. First and foremost, thanks so much for watching this bonus episode with Hotandcold. We hope you're enjoying it, but I'm also hopeful you're going to enjoy what should be on the screen right now, which is a tease of what's to come. We are partnering up with a legendary and infamous Rainbow Six Siege illustrator and content creator named Sausage. You might know his artwork because of the funny Montaigne and all the other great stuff he does. Well, DBNO and Sausage are collaborating on a special Salt Lake City Major t-shirt. What you see on the screen is just a work in progress, so it's not a finished product by any stretch of the imagination. We'll be following up with a hopefully more completed design on our next episode before Salt Lake. But if you've ever wanted to own some merch celebrating us and Sausage and, of course, the community, keep your eyes peeled because we'll be selling them very soon. Thanks so much, and back to the episode.
But, to answer your question too, Parker, I just feel like, from the outside looking in, it seems like M80 as an organization is kind of a pressure cooker for success, in a sense. Like, if you don't have success, you are very quickly out of there. I don't know if there's sports teams we can reference, maybe the Dodgers or, I don't know, Yankees, I don't know, baseball, but one of those where they have a ton of money or deep pockets, and if they're not seeing success, the owner's not hesitant to pull the trigger very quickly. Your good friend and casting buddy, Jesse J. Chick, tweeted out that since the start of 2024, M80 has now dropped 12 players, 4 of them being IGLs. And if you reference that to other top NA orgs, Shopify and Sonics, only 5 changes, right? So a third basically of, almost half. SSG was 8, DZ 9, and people gave DZ a lot of shit for all the changes they've done in the past. Wildcard 10, but Wildcard also, since the start of 2024, like they had a complete restructure.
They dropped their whole roster. Yeah, that one's a little different, eh? Yeah.
So M80, again, like just kind of looking for that success.
I think even SSG and DZ, those numbers are kind of skewed because of the recent change with their team.
Change, right? I guess that's
every team blew up their roster recently, right? And you guys didn't. You guys, like, Kyno got shuffled off the team for reasons that I don't think Mint is scared to talk about. We'll get to those later in the episode. Matt, we're being very conscious of the fact, and you, the viewer, this is something for you as well here. Matt is still on the team. There are contracts that are signed. There, non-disparagement clauses. There's, like NDAs, stuff like that. Like, you can't, like, if you're benched, you can't just come out and be like, fuck this team, fuck these people, like, they're dog shit, they didn't pay me, they fucking suck, they kicked my dog, like, you can't do that. But we can. So we are, and we're not here to like dish gossip, but I do think there is context that is needed for some of these things. And, a lot of what we're going off of is just hearsay. This is stuff that players have told us, or, coaches have told us, or former teammates have told us. And it's like, it might be wrong. We don't know. But again, it's the same thing as when we talk about any player, we talk about any org. If there's another side of this story, come on the show and share it. Like if people get pissed off at the stuff that they hear, like, our door's open. So now let's walk it back. Let's go all the way back. The post-Munich glow. You look dominant. You in the grand final, you come on here, you all talk about it. You talk about the system. You talk about Fabian as a coach. You talk about the efficacy of his timeouts. You talk about how the team is a well-oiled machine. What changes in the run-up to SI? Because in SI, you are one of the first teams to go home in the playoffs. And you frankly, the entire team looks very off compared to what we saw at Munich. Was that an IGLing thing? Was that a meta thing? Was that a team thing? What happened?
Well, I think the biggest thing that kind of corroded our team at SI, in my opinion, was like everything before SI was really good. We had probably the best boot camp we've ever had in terms of results. We were destroying teams like Secret. They were a top 2 team. I remember 11-1ing, like 10-2ing those guys on maps. Like, it was very dominant. So from going to that, like those types of scrim results to, some of our matches, I think it slowly just made us lose confidence. As far as why that happened, I feel like a lot of pressure. I think Kyno let the pressure get to him a lot. I think my IGLing wasn't as good as it was in Munich. I could say that. And I think just pressure kind of hit everyone a little bit more than it should.
Is it the pressure because you guys obviously just won Munich as a major, and this is like the SI big event leading up, like right after the event? Like, this is the one you guys are favorites for, or?
I mean, it's probably different for everyone in their own heads, right? But I would think it's not so much the winning the major, but just knowing that like we have everything we need and it's not happening like that. At least for me, like that type of pressure is what factors into my mood going into the game. It's like, why are we not playing like how we're supposed to? And then it kind of just spirals a little bit.
As far as not playing how you're supposed to, I mean, was this something you guys could feel in the group stage? Like something was off?
100%.
So what were the conversations kind of group stage going into playoffs? Because, tweets, there were interviews after the group stages. We know what our problem is. We're working on. I'm kind of curious what you guys thought some of your problems were that, you guys were actively working on for playoffs.
Well, our biggest problems, right, were inside the game. Our communication would get just absolutely crazy. And we individually would make more mistakes than we're used to. And what do those two things stem from? They stem from nerves and pressure, right? Because what else is there that's causing that? Like having people be way louder than they normally are because of the nerves, it can affect a whole round, because the other team, let's say like the attacking team, is just doing a crazy rush or crazy just all over attack. Like, how are you going to play the round when everyone's just yelling? Sorry, I forgot. I kind of forgot what the question was.
Did it also, like, it seemed like, from, again, my outside looking in, it seemed like your guys' man advantage situation problem kind of crept back during SI. Do you think that's kind of an accurate?
Yeah, that's definitely accurate. I mean, that's been like the bane of our existence for forever.
Yeah,
it's just we win 75% of the round, and then that last 25%, I don't know what happens, but some craziness happens, and we lose 4v2s or we lose 5v3s or whatever it is. And that's always been a problem of ours, I will say. But the reason I think we're way better at that in Munich is because, like, that was like our only sole focus for a long time, like, going into it. And I think one problem we have as a team is we're very good at working on stuff, but then the stuff that we're not working on kind of relaxes and kind of slacks back a little bit. So I think that was a big thing going into SI. We maybe let off the brakes on that a little bit.
I think it's funny because a lot of teams will have, a championship hangover where they go in feeling demotivated and have a lack of hunger. Like, oh my God, we just won this. Okay, we can kind of coast. But then you go from winning a major, which is important, to the next biggest event, also like the biggest event possible, and something that, you've long talked about. And I think you even said that after you won Manchester, you're like, cool, I won a major, but I want the hammer next. Like, that's the goal. I mean, that's everybody's goal that plays this game.
Yeah.
I can just understand, just from a human perspective, and I say this with kindness. I don't say this with judgment. It's not like you guys were Falcons and you were making every grand final. It's not like you were FaZe Clan and you were constantly a top 3 team, right? Like, you guys had ebbs and flows as rosters where you'd look really dominant and then you'd have an off month or an off, period of time.
Yeah.
So I can imagine, after, I won't call it improbable, but an unlikely run at Munich, I think there's a lot of pressure that you guys are going to put on yourselves to try to capture lightning in a bottle twice, or still continue to ride the hot hand if you think that you guys are still, at that, altitude, which I think for good reason. Well, you just won a major. There really isn't much else that's happened outside of the NAL finals. Like, you can keep going. I think there's an immense amount of pressure to be like, who knows when our window is going to close? We absolutely have to show up and win SI. And that can fuck with you. Like, I get nerves. I've casted bad matches. Like, the matches have been good. I've casted poorly because I've let pressure of certain matches, like, oh, this is my only live cast of this event. We got to deliver. And maybe I got a bad night's sleep, or maybe I ate some bad catering. Like, who knows, right? Like, pressure affects me, and I'm just the guy yelling on a microphone. I can't imagine how it would affect you in the server when, you're with an org that has high expectations. You've got a big budget, you got a big spotlight on you, and you're the defending major champ. So I can see it.
Yeah, I don't think, for me personally, like, that's the type of pressure that set in. Like, I didn't feel like I had to win SI because, I don't know, with that roster, like, even if we do have our hard times, like, I feel like as long as we put in the work and the right things, like, we always have a chance of winning, which isn't that what you, like, kind of want from a team, I mean, obviously you want consistent majors, and it sucks to miss majors for sure, but I'm taking winning 2 events out of the year, or, 1 event out of the year, than making every major and getting groups every time of the week. And if you're an org owner, like, are you not taking that as well? Like, that's, I don't know.
I think Kyle's spot on, right? Like, M80 seems like they have a really short leash. DZ, we used to go after DZ quite a lot. You get 1 split to do well. And if you don't do well, you're gone. See you later. You know, like there's no loyalty whatsoever. It's the loyalty is to results. And if you don't fit into that vision and you don't accomplish what they want you to accomplish, you're gone. M80 did, to their credit, you know, give you a little bit longer than DZ historically does.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you, Kyle, but like, I don't really know the inner workings of M80, so I don't want to speak too much on their machinations. But if it's an org decision, that strikes me as, hey, it's been 6 months. We expect to have like a top 4 team at all times, and we're going to take every measure to get there. And unfortunately, that starts with the, you know, the captain and IGL.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's an accurate. I think that's an accurate statement. Again, from the outside looking in to that organization, it's like they want to be top 4, but I don't think people realize how hard it is to be a consistent top 4 team. Going back to even like Matt's point, like as a GM, would you rather have a team that can actually perform internationally or a team that makes every single event? I mean, that goes back to like this last NA roster period window where technically Wildcard, there was some things going on. That roster could have been available, right? And SSG's roster was available. SSG was the regional farming team that always farms regionally, can't win anything internationally. Wildcard's the team that sometimes doesn't make events, but when they do, they're like a top 4 team at these events. And then there's the DZ roster who got rid of everybody and had the option at one point to pick between, do you want the regional success or do you want the international success? And it's like, what do you do as a GM, right? Like, I mean, they chose to go for the regional farmers at the moment.
I don't know if they chose, to be honest.
Well, technically they didn't. I didn't want to go
stuck.
there. They were stuck. Yeah, they couldn't leave.
I think they would have gotten the wildcard core, but I don't know. I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
I think you'd know more than me on that. But yeah, I mean, to your point, I also wanted to say, like, it's people don't understand how small of a margin it is between getting like even 8th place and winning. It's like all it takes is for you to be just on a hot streak for a week, you know, you to get 1 to 2 to 3 clutches. Like, it's just crazy how little the difference is between, I mean, maybe top 8's like a little absurd, but even, you know, like fifth to first is all pretty close teams. And I guarantee if you ask any of the top teams from SI, like they would say that they expected us to be in the top 6 just off of scrims.
Yeah, and again, like just going back to like, do you think the format may have even been a factor this stage? Because we look at some of the other regions. You guys are a top 6 team, and I think a lot of people think Liquid is still a team that could win an event if they were there, and we don't even see those guys making the event either.
Yeah, I mean, I think I had that thought either last night or this morning, just how Liquid's kind of in the same spot as us. I do think, I don't know if it's the actual. I don't think it's the actual like bracket or anything's fault, but I think it's just how quick the tournament was. You know, these newer teams don't have a lot of time. I mean, we're not a newer team, but we did get a new player, and maybe it's just, you know, things for other teams click faster than ours. That's what I would like to think, and I do think that is what happened, because I think our team changed dynamic-wise a lot getting Ashn over Kyno. That's just 2 totally different players. You know, you have to play it different.
Okay. Do we want to head into that, Parker?
Sure.
You look like you're about to say something.
I mean, I have heard, and this is just from players talking. I have a good relationship with them M80 guys. I like Marco. I preface all of this by saying, I promise you this is not a hatchet job. Context is needed. I have heard that stemming back to the XSET days, that org has had a problem with paying their players. And I've heard that it has resulted in a number of players moving off of that roster, not because of a team or org decision, but because of the player's decision. And I heard that was ultimately what happened with Kyno, was that he was back on that roster ages and ages and ages ago, and there were still payments well in arrears. And basically, my understanding, and this could be wrong, my understanding was he was like, hey, I'm not really comfortable re-signing until I get all that money back. And I assume that they were like, hey, that's not happening because he walked. And I don't have confirmation of this from Kyno. So again, this is a secondary source. This is not from Kyno himself. So I could be way off base here. But what I had heard was that there were some payment issues that have ultimately led to roster moves that wouldn't have been made otherwise. And again, it wasn't Fabian making this call. It wasn't Marco making this call. These were players that ultimately said, I'm going to go elsewhere. And if that's true, I can't blame them at all. You know, the one thing I will say about esports, I've had to chase down payments that were over a year old. Like, it's at one point I had a specific company that some Rainbow Six fans are familiar with. Hotan, you might know them as well. There was a specific company that owed me over 10 grand. And it got to a point where, you know, CSA, my agency, was starting to prep legal action because there was just no communication. And how many times do we see TOs take money, you know, from Peter to pay Paul instead of paying, you know, the actual reasons why they're taking that money? It's not uncommon in esports. It does not surprise me, you know, that esports orgs are late on payments. And if that's the real reason why Kyno left that team, I don't blame him. But again, this is hearsay. So there's no smoking gun here. And unless like Kyno or somebody from M80 comes on the show and says, yeah, that's exactly what happened, take it as a rumor. But I have heard that same rumor many times to this point where I have to imagine there's some truth to it.
What are you looking for?
We're not looking for anything. I mean, that's kind of where I was going with this as well. I mean, obviously,
I don't know if you wanted to say this. I'm sorry if I stole your point.
No, you didn't. You didn't steal my point at all. I mean, that's kind of the thing with M80 is you guys have arguably the top salaries in North America. If I don't know what Shopify is getting paid, so maybe not.
I think lower than them, but
okay, so lower than Shopify.
I think Sploit probably makes the most money in North America. I think we all agree on that one, right?
I'll agree.
Probably in the world.
I think so. Yeah,
probably in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is kind of, as a player, it does suck to have to worry about if you're going to get your prize money, especially when you're winning events as a team. But that was kind of where I was going with the, like, obviously you guys bombed out of SI. Maybe don't like the word bombed out, but that's M80.
No, bombed out.
They're a bomb, you know. Boom.
It's a bomb logo. It's a good logo. I'm glad they brought I'm glad they brought the old logo back. It looks real nice.
Okay. Making sure that didn't go over anyone's head. All right. So anyway, you guys make the Kyno leaves for whatever reason. I'm glad we gave the context from the outside just to the viewers on maybe why that Kyno changed.
It could be wrong. Again, I could be wrong, but I've heard it from a number of people at this point.
But you guys get Ashn, which a lot of the community might have
does not like
and wondering why and does not like, and maybe usually it's because of his shit talk. Yep. I'm kind of curious. I mean, we could talk about Ashn, but I'm kind of curious, like, did you guys as players have any input on picking up Ashn, or does this kind of go with what we're talking about? Was it just Marco saying, hey guys, we got Ashn, enjoy your new fifth?
Well, Marco was talking to players without really talking to us, but we are the ones who made the decisions on the players.
Okay.
And I want to say it was between Ashn. Who else was it? It was like Ashn, J9, and there was one other person. Maybe Fabian wanted Benja, but that was impossible. I think those were the three.
Why wasn't, out of curiosity, why wasn't Benja possible? Is it because he'd already gone to another team, or?
He already said he was going to G2, yeah.
Okay. I'd also heard, and this could be wrong, I'd heard that he also just wanted to go back to Europe, but I don't know how true that is.
I mean, I would assume so. I feel like most Europeans that come over probably just want to go back pretty fast.
Look, I'm not getting into culture war stuff, but if you live in a nice, quaint, safe, walkable place in Europe and you come on over to suburban hell America, I can get it. I can understand why you'd want to go back. I get it.
Without a car, you're not going to be able to do anything here.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
I get it. Sometimes I get homesick for Poland and I'm not even from there. You tell me I can walk everywhere? I finally live downtown. Now I can walk everywhere. It's nice. Anyway, whole other point. So tryouts. So you go with Ashn.
Well, we didn't try out, but yeah, we just chose.
You didn't do any tryouts? You just like cold chose them? No?
Why would we do tryouts? So like we already know those players.
Well,
I've played with Liam before.
I know.
I know what he's capable of. I think he's one of the smartest players in NA. And I think he'll eventually prove that. I think a lot of people think he's dumb just because of his play style.
Mm-hmm.
He's very.
I think his persona
player.
actually does more harm than his his play style. I think the fact that he's just constantly screaming all the time does give a great deal of the audience the belief that he's just a typical yelling American.
Was that not also Troy back in the day?
Troy's Canadian. There's a big difference.
Okay. So just because he's Canadian, he could scream.
Because we know he's nice, like deep down.
Troy's also won 2 hammers. That also makes a difference.
He was screaming before he won those hammers. Let me tell you.
That's true. That is true. He was screaming in the first year when it was all just a bunch of
plumbers,
part-timers, and no working anti-cheat.
Oh, yippee! What good times we had. I mean, so yeah, just like Alamau then, right? Like Alamau also said he doesn't believe in tryouts. He said, at the top level, even DZ, for the longest time, we didn't try anybody out. Like you just kind of, when you're like one of the top teams, I feel like if you know the players,
yeah. But if you're trying to like get some unknown players, sure, tryouts are the play. Like we did tryouts on Beast Coast because we didn't know the players. We've never played with them. Mm-hmm. So we were kind of forced to. And we were trying out players that were from, T2. It's kind of unknown.
Stompin'?
No. It was Diffuser.
Oh, I didn't try out
Stompin' was underage at that point.
You guys would have won more majors. Jeez.
I want to interject before we get too far off this topic. Matt, I think one of your greatest strengths as an interview is your ability to speak from the heart about your teammates. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that, but it goes back to what one of the traits I think you have, which is you're very thoughtful. And your ability to elevate those around you, I think, is really, really strong. For people who hate Ashn, and for anybody who's watched the old SSG matches and now watches M80, and again, we talked a little bit about the toxicity of Twitch chat on the most recent episode that just came out a couple days ago. Ashn does not escape that critique at all. In fact, the chat ends up becoming like just constant hatred towards him. I don't think right now there's anybody that I'd rather ask the question to. What makes him one of the smartest players?
I think he's very young. Obviously, I think he's about to be 21 or he just turned 21, around those lines. So obviously you wouldn't think that he has like a lot of experience in Siege in general. He's probably, I think he has a little more time than Diffuser in Pro League. And the main difference between those two in terms of experience is Ashn was playing with top players, for years before Pro League inside of T3. Like, go look at his team. Played with Ambi, played with Spiker, played with Spiff, played with, there's one more. Oh, Uzi. Like, those are all top of the line, at least two T2 players, it's where he's getting experience from. So I think that, and he was also, I want to say, the IGL of that team, or at least a very big play caller and shot caller. So that experience coming from T2 and then playing with, top of the line players on SSG, top of the line players on M80, I just felt like he's soaked up a lot of information, and he's probably the hardest worker I've ever teamed with. He's in college right now. He does all his college stuff. He was our defensive caller on M80, so he's very good at making strats, very good at prep work. He's just a hard worker. When he wants something done, he'll get it done.
I've always been impressed with him when I've run across him offline. Obviously, I love personas like him. I think being loud and brash play into that American stereotype. I think it's great. I think it gets people typing. I think it gets people talking. It'll very quickly win you fans. It will even quicker win you haters. And some people love being the heel. Some people just love being the villain. And I don't think Ashn is a villain, but he said some stuff that's maybe a little out of pocket. I remember the game where we got in trouble because he was talking about somebody balding on DZ, and I think production cut to Bolo after I said, "Who do you think he was talking about?" And
I remember that.
That was not us. That was not a foul. Bolo got done so dirty from his barber. Look, like Bolo's not. I've seen Jason's hair in person. It doesn't look like he's balding. And even if he is, who gives a fuck? Like if he wants to go bald, or he wants to, he wants to fly Turkish Airlines for $6,000 and get a new mop on his head. Like go ahead. Like if guys want to get hair, like if I start balding, I'm absolutely getting a hair transplant. I don't give a shit. Like who cares? But like Ashn has said some stuff that's definitely over the line in competition, but I don't think it's over the line from a competitor standpoint on television. And I think it's great. I think it brings character and energy to our esport. You know, you've got a lot of players that just sit behind a computer monitor and are very dull. There was a couple people who actually touched on the point when we said FaZe were boring and they didn't have a big personas. There was a number of Brazilian fans in our most recent episode who came in and said, you should see them when they're on like Raza's co-stream and stuff and doing promotional stuff in Brazil. In Portuguese, they're very funny and very animated. You just don't see that on stage, and you don't see it because they don't speak English. So having somebody like Ashn, who's just so visibly, you know, energetic, I think it's terrific. And then I talked to him in person, and he's actually so soft spoken as a person. He speaks quietly, he speaks slow, he thinks a lot, and I'm just like, this is nothing like who you are when I see you gaming and yelling. And it's like, I like that. I like that people can turn it on when they need to.
Even from playing against him doing that, like, it is very annoying. You're trying to take a time out, you know, Fabian's trying to talk, and all you hear in the mics is just someone yelling across the room. You don't know what he's saying, but you can't hear your own coach because he's just yelling. Actually, I mean, it's pretty annoying as the enemy team.
Anything to get like tilt your opponents. Who cares? That's like people are like, oh, be respectful. Like that's when people got mad that Five Fears denied the opportunity for 1 of 30 to play 5-5. I would do the same if I was in their position. There's no honor here.
It's not their fault that the guy's PC is DC'd. Like, I don't know. That's not their fault. The admin should have just rehosted. They should have just took control of it more so. But yeah,
that's a conversation for another day. But
we had that conversation.
We did. I was very careful to not wade into it too much. But no, like I am fully of the opinion where it's like you can play with class and you can play with dignity. But guess what? If the difference between being a scumbag and being the most gracious and graceful person on earth is a championship, I'll be a scumbag and win a trophy. You know, like, oh, you lost the championship because you didn't take the advantages given to you. But you know, we gotta hand it to them. They really played with a lot of class. Like, fuck that. Like, nobody's gonna remember that you were a classy loser 5 years from now. They're just gonna remember that you didn't win the event. So like, if Ashn's trash talk gets under people's skin and it throws your opponents off game, that's part of it. Sorry, that's just how it works. You don't think players in the basketball court are talking trash to each other? You don't think hockey players are chirping each other all the time? Of course they are. It's part of the game. Get in your opponent's head, break them, and then beat them on the court or the field. Like I think it works.
I was going to say, I'm not a big hockey fan, but being around Troy a lot, I thought he taught me that there's like literally a position in hockey where you're just kind of a bully.
Just kind of a what?
Just kind of a bully. Like you're just shit talking out there, kind of chipping people every once in a while. Like,
yeah, the enforcer.
Yeah, so they'd be called goons or enforcers. There's four forward lines in hockey, so you'd have 12 forwards, and then you'd have usually 6 defensemen and a goalie, right? And you change lines like every minute and a half, every 40 seconds. Really depends on what's going on. Typically, your first line is like your best players, like just objectively your superstars. Second line is hopefully the same. Third is kind of a shutdown line, and then historically, that fourth line would literally just be like ogres carrying tree trunks designed to beat people, and that'd be it. You know, you'd get guys who maybe have like 6 brain cells, 1 tooth, and they're just hell on wheels in a straight line. They can't skate, but they're big and they'll hit you. And that was it. They don't really exist these days, but they used to be around for a multitude of purposes. Part of it was to keep the other team's goons in check. You know, like some countries will get like nuclear weapons and be like, I have this so you can't nuke me. It's basically like that. It's mutually assured destruction, where it's like, well, we've got, you know, Bobby Unibrow here who's 6'6", 280 pounds. And if you go after one of our good guys, he's going to turn your skull into mush. Like, that's basically it. And then they all trash talk, and you can go on YouTube and look up like compilations of all the funny little chirps that hockey players are known for. It's just part of the game, you know? And I think if it gives you a small advantage or a big advantage, take it. I don't know if the audience disagrees with this. Maybe some of you are more noble than I am, but it's like, if I was on 5 Fears, like if I was a competitor, there's no chance I'd let them get that 5th player back in. Sorry. Like I want to go to the major. Sucks for you. Try next time. If I'm a competitor, if I'm a caster, my focus now shifts to like, well, you know, it'd be nice if we had like a reasonable and respectful game. But like, if I'm a competitor, I'm taking every opportunity to be the best.
I was so rooting on their downfall to lose that 4v5. That'd have been so funny. They were so close.
That would have been funny.
My gosh.
That would have been.
They should have lost it.
But I for me, because we talked about Ashn before, like I'm actually I'm a fan of trash talk in T1 because I think we need a lot of I feel like we need the personalities. Like our esport in general, like if we're all just nice, it's like boring. Like haven't we all watched like the old Gears of War videos where they're just like shit talking to each other out of land, like right across from each other, right? That's what dream hacks were so nice. Man, I remember playing at a dream hack. We would just like stand up and secrets on the other side of us. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
they can hear everything.
They can hear everything. And then like T1, it's fine because at the end of the day, we're going to go like hang out. We're all eating in the same place. We're all like in the same venue. Like there's no actual beef between like T1. Like we're able to separate it. Sometimes I feel like the fans can't, but like at the end of the day, like you said, like Ashen's he's a really nice guy, and it's just a character. It's just a way to get a little bit of a 1% on the other team because you're right, it does affect people. A lot of players haven't played sports and maybe they're not used to getting chirped at, so their ego takes a hit when they read like or get question marked in game. Ooh, nothing pisses me off.
The question mark is incredible. When somebody does something so stupid and you know they're upset and you hit them with the drive-by question mark, you can feel the building coming down around them. Like
my personal favorite is just hitting lol, just in the chat. Lol. Yeah. You'd be surprised how many pro teams get so pissed about that.
And like the mental warfare, I mean, it's big. I mean, we talked about it on a lot during our Unwanted run. The skill level between the teams going to the event are so close. So why not get any advantage you can, like on the mental warfare side? You know what I mean? Like, even if it's like just a 1%. Because at the end of the day, like I always say, the Siege is a 5v5. If you could just get someone off their game and now they're just like playing awful, they're peeking things they shouldn't. It's now a fucking 6v4 on your side because you just threw one of them fucking off and it working in your favor. Like, and if you don't fall into that trap, you're gonna win a lot more games. But my caveat is I like it in T1. The T2, T3 ranked goons that I'm playing with that are constantly shit talking because their favorite T1 player shit talks. Although it's funny with your friends and the rage baiting, my only advice is I do think that can be harmful. People getting into T2, people always ask, "Bid, how do I get into T3? How do I find a team? How do I get into T2?" It is connection based. It's all about who you know. And if you're just shit talking everybody, you're going to get known as like that is your personality. This guy's probably a shithead. I don't want to team with them. Fuck that guy. And we're just there's so like the player base is so large. Like just fuck that guy. We're gonna get somebody else. So like unless you're extremely fucking talented. So that's my only like old man caveat. You know, we don't want to try to. I know Ashn is probably a lot of our favorite players, but
you definitely burn some bridges with some.
You could burn some bridges.
Talk.
Yeah,
and it's like the only time I don't really like shit talk is like when it's people that have done nothing trying to do it. I mean, I understand still doing it, sure, but I don't know. Like, why are you talking? That's how I view it.
Why are you?
But okay, but hang on a second here.
That's why.
Hang on a second here. I always liken it to like the little dog that's barking behind the bigger dogs, right? Like, you know that you're not special, but you're going to bark anyway because you've got the protection of people who are. That mentally booms me more than the good people shit talking. Like when the 1 in 7 is just in chat trying to get under my skin, there's a part of me that's like, what do you do? Like, you're garbage. Why are you typing? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, shut up. But then it's like, they got me. Like, I lost. Like, they've won. They won the battle. And with it, maybe they win the war. Because it's like, logically, I'm like, this person is terrible. Why do I care what they say? But then there's another part of me that's like, you get in there and you win that fight. You win that fucking verbal fight. You don't let them get an inch. If you ignore them, they think they're winning. You must stop them. And it's just like, you lose no matter what. I love it. If I'm 1 in 7 in a match, I'm typing more than if I'm 10 and 1, like 100%. Not that I'm often 10 and 1 in any of the games I play these days, but should that occasion arise, I'm a total gentleman.
I think shit talking also mainly for Kyle, you know what Kyle's talking about, like T2, T3. Like the more shit talk you do, the more kind of invested you get, right? And then when, let's say, you start losing or they win a big round and they start shit talking, I feel like it affects the players more, and it could throw you off your game. So like, I don't know, shit talking is kind of a double-edged sword sometimes.
I agree. I think we've pretty much exhausted the shit talking aspect, and I appreciate your ability to talk about Ashn. And the reason also why I wanted you to talk about Ashn is because, when the core of this team was Beast Coast and you came on the show, you guys were great about talking about how good each other is. And then obviously you did the exact same thing when M80 was on, 7 months ago, 8 months ago, however long Munich was ago. Trying to avoid two specific numbers makes jobs really challenging. But you said that obviously when you bring on a player like Ashn, he's going to change up the team because he's not Kyno. I think everybody's pretty understanding of that. But for the people that don't have expert level knowledge of the game, or even, good knowledge of the game, what changes happened to M80's identity with Ashn on this team? And through that, did that make it hard for you as an IGL to adapt to presumably players on different roles?
Quick answer is 100%. It does. The more, thought out answer is, if you think about it, look at how Kyno plays, right? He's a very almost support flex type of player. He plays a lot of the shields, a lot of the power ups, plays very anchor on site, which Ashn can play all of those. But at the same time, is that really Ashn's best role? No. Ashn's known as more like an aggro player. Came from an aggro team. Crank station, and I would say the biggest changes that we had to go through is more like communication based. Kyno, he would talk a lot, but he would also kind of know his place in terms of like when to calm. I feel like pretty well. And with me, Sean, and Liam, it's just a lot of ideas spinning back and forth. And I think the main problems for me is I am the IGL, I am the leader, but sometimes I struggle with just being just taking control when I need to, being consistent on that kind of comes and goes. And that led to just mixed ideas happening middle of the rounds, people calling, floats, or people calling to hit instead of just playing slow, or people not calling that at all in terms of Liam and Sean, and just doing it, and then the round falls apart because it's not controlled.
Okay. I was going to say, you said Ashn was helping to call on defense. I mean, I guess one of the questions that we're going to ask later on that can be touched on a bit here is, who replaces you? Do you think that the team has somebody lined up internally that, maybe Fabian or, ownership are, maybe Ashn will become our full-time IGL, or do you think they're going to go looking elsewhere?
It'll probably be just putting Sean as IGL and them getting an aggro, like another aggro player. Because I think Fabian as a coach also kind of likes that coaching, that play style of just that G2-esque play style of playing super aggro and just spread, having all players just play very individually, which it is very good, I think. I mean, obviously G2 showed that. It is very good, but that is not my best play style in terms of like being able to call off of it. I can. And I think them getting rid of me and just putting Sean on IGL and getting another aggro player, like that's probably their goal. So just go more into an aggro play style.
Isn't that kind of crazy though? Like, because usually we talked about this with Fett on yesterday, or feels like, geez, just the other day when we were getting ranted on about something. Muda.
Yeah.
But usually like those kind of G2S teams have like one passive player, right? Or like one stable rock on the team. And if I'm looking at them, and maybe I'm wrong, but I already feel like you guys have 4 aggro players now with Ashn onto the team, because Ashn always is one of the most aggressive entries probably in NA, or at least always has like very high entry stats. Gav, Diffuser are entries. You got Gunner as a rat that constantly has probably the most entries on your team.
Yep.
and now you want to add, or seemingly the thought is they might add another one. It's kind of concerning, to be honest, the direction of what they're going for. I
don't think the people that are making the changes are really thinking through that, thought process. So it's just not even coming into their mind.
That's a very polite way of saying that.
This is so polite. Who's your worst teammate? No, I'm just kidding.
Worst
These
teammate,
people
Sean.
are fucking idiots. AKA, I don't think they're thinking about that right now. I don't think they're working through it.
Me and Sean bitch at each other. It's Sean. Fuck that guy.
Can't believe he hasn't reached out to you. Let's start slandering him.
I saw a text actually pop up with his name. I haven't looked at it.
Ooh, read it right now. No, just kidding.
Sean, of course, is Gunner. For those that aren't familiar, Gavin's real name is Gavin. Just.
I was waiting. I was actually waiting.
Do you know Diffusers?
I actually don't know his name off by heart. I've never called him by his real name.
His name's Aiden.
We don't even call him in person. I call him D.
Yeah, we still call him D.
Yeah, I was like, I call him D or Diffuser. And then Ashn is obviously Liam. Fabian's real name is Fabian. I'm starting to sense a pattern here on this team. At
least
anyway, so this is just for if people like, there's a chance that viewers aren't on a first name basis. You can continue to use their first names. It's a point of reference now for anybody who's listening. I do appreciate that you use real names because there are teams that don't. There are teams that all just use aliases. And I
feel like it just kind of depends how easy it is to say your name in game.
True.
Like we're not going to say Aiden over D in game. Like that's just Gav's easy, Sean's easy, Liam. Dude, there was a lot of times. It's a kind of a side topic, but there was a lot of times where we're calling in game and we would say Lau instead of Liam or Kyno. Because that was what we would call Kyno.
Yeah. I think it also depends if your name kind of sounds like a name. Like Mint and Kyle I use interchangeably. Like I call you Matt all the time because it's just faster than saying Hotan or Hotandcold.
Faster.
Like
yeah.
It's much faster. Yeah.
Say my name. My in-game name.
Yeah. But it also depends. Like Hotan also sounds like it could be a name, and I think INTERRO is kind of similar. Like I think people can say INTERRO and it doesn't sound like weird. You know? I think people say Hotan and people are like, oh, that just sounds like a name that's maybe like, not American. Maybe it's a name from another country that we're not familiar with. Like who knows?
Do you think the biggest difference though between Ashn and Kyno is just like how much they were talking on the team? Or is that like a big difference between those two?
Okay, well, how much talking? Probably not. Like I said, Lau was he was a yapper.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so the ideas coming out, Lau's very good at or Kyno is very good at like coming up with ideas, but usually it's like before the match or even after the match. Like, Liam is more just constantly spitting out ideas, whether it's defense or attack, because he's naturally a play and shot caller. So I think that is the biggest difference between them. And I do think that Gunner and Ashn can both be very good IGLs. So I don't think they're like totally in the dumps in terms of calling, because those two were already helping me call it as is,
Yeah, because it almost sounds like you're saying, like it almost sounds like a crowded room, almost, right? Of too many voices, similar to kind of what we had on like even old DZ, maybe with like Yumi and Skies.
See, yeah, it was, but at the same time, that is my like that is where I fucked up the most by not taking control of the room, as good as I should have.
Right.
So that's like my biggest harp on myself in terms of this last stage, is just not taking as much control as I needed to.
And that's understandable as an IGL. And I was referencing the comms thing because you guys actually recently played your 7th place game or something like that.
Yeah.
On stream, which was kind of cool, and you got to hear the M80 comms.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people it was really cool to hear what T1 comms look like. I thought it sounded pretty chaotic because it did sound like you had a lot of fucking voices on the team. So you can kind of see a little bit of what you're talking about. Fuck, I forgot what I was going with that.
It happens.
Yeah, fuck. I'll come back to me.
It is worth noting for those that are watching. This came together like 12 hours ago. Like I shot Kyle a message at like I think 11 p.m. Eastern, and was basically like, "What's your schedule the next like 4 to 8 hours? If Matt's available, do you want to do like an emergency episode?" And Kyle was like, "I was thinking the same thing," and I'm like, "Let's do it." And then producer David drove his Lamborghini all the way down here, and now here we are. You know, through the, I believe the doorway that he used is called the Lamborghini doorway to get to this point. I see your response, Kyle. The Lamborghini doorway is a place on the coastline map that is very near and dear to your heart.
It's very near and dear to my heart. I miss that team dearly. Adam was my favorite. Adam!
Like the booty.
So many booties to smack, not enough time on consulate. Hey, you know, just anyway. So I guess at this point now we're going to talk about what happened during kickoff and like a deep dive into kickoff. It's a truncated schedule. Basically, you have a bad showing in 4 best of ones, you're kind of cooked. Lucky for the other 8 NA teams, there was a very clear bottom tier of North American teams during kickoff that prevented, I think, some of the weaker teams from really being exposed. And again, no shade to 100 Thieves and no shade to OL, but these were 2 teams that just, they looked like a cut below everybody else. And because one team in each group finishes dead last, everybody else makes the playoffs. What was your expectation before a single game was played in kickoff? After SI, with a new roster, what was your expectation for the team?
I mean, the most obvious expectation, right, is just make it to playoffs, make it to the major. Whether how we did that or not didn't really matter to me. You know, it'd be cool if we got first and just won everything. But if we had to grind for it and barely got into the major, I mean, that's cool with me too. As long as we just were improving and making it to the event. That was my expectation, at least.
Take us behind the curtain here for a second. I'm assuming with Fabian as your coach, you talk as a team a fair bit.
Yeah.
Did you all have like a team meeting to talk about weaknesses? Is this something that you have like a conversation on? Like, hey guys, like, you know, we know that we have these problems, or hey guys, you know that this might be a rough one. Is it really like raw and real with each other? How do those team meetings go?
Yeah, we're very, very open with each other. Usually we talk about problems a lot of the time. A lot of teams internalize their problems, and that's when, you know, either roster changes happen or just the team crumbles. But we're always pretty good at talking about our problems. I think, you know, our main problems were communication based, getting Liam comfy, I would say. I think we kind of messed up by putting him as the defensive IGL, because there was a time where he just called me, you know, one-on-one saying like, this is the most stressed I've ever been. Like, this is...
You said that too. Your exact words earlier was that it was mentally draining in the run-up. What was going on? That's
more just like that's just more me stuff, you know? It's me feeling more emotions than usual. More sad in life. But that wasn't really like team-based, I don't think, you know, like, or in-game. I would say Liam's were more in-game. Like, he just felt like he had a lot of pressure on him to be the defensive IGL. Different team, you know, he's only been with SSG in his pro career. And going from that team, I could speak on that. Going from that team environment to any other team is just going to feel way different. SSG does a very good job at feeling very close-knit, you know, as a unit. And most other teams, if not all other teams, are just going to feel worse in terms of team environment.
Okay.
Yeah, I think our problems, though, like I said before, we talked about our problems a lot and we knew them. But when we'd focus on, you know, 1 or 2 problems, we get worse at 1 or 2 other things. And that was our main problem.
Obviously, kickoff happens.
Yeah.
How soon into kickoff do you realize that there are maybe some problems here that could result in, you failing to make the major? Was it something you diagnosed early?
Well, I think the BO1s went pretty decent. We only lost 1 to 5 fears. In that, in my opinion, we probably would have won if we knew better bans against those guys. Those guys were a very kind of unknown team, unknown play style, and they're very good at their play style. I will admit those guys are very good at it. And they just caught us off guard. They won, close rounds, and that's that. I mean, it's a BO1, but all the other BO1s, I feel like we played good and we got better and better throughout the stage. And then I think the BO3s hit, and that's when kind of pressure came back, and the same pressure problems from SI of just not playing the same as we do in scrims kind of happened.
I mean, you also not to discredit you, but not to discredit your opponents, but two things that happened to you that just kind of seem like fate, and maybe this is loser talk. Nobody took a map off 5 fears. So you were not alone in that one, right? Like they were an unknown quantity for everybody, and they are the top seed coming out of North America. But you also ran into the plot armor of Wildcard, where you crushed them on their own map of Fortress 7-1. We casted that game. It's one of the best series that we've casted domestically in a long, long time. I'm sure you probably don't love hearing that, but it is true. And then they won, 2 scrappy 8-7s. Technically an 8-6, 8-7, but you were in basically full control of that series. And just, again, like there are times where, man, it just seems like a team has plot armor and nothing is beating them. You guys honestly I felt that about you in Manchester.
Yeah, sure.
Just where it's like a team meets the moment so perfectly, and it's like, and then what happens? They go up against Dark Zero, and almost the exact same situation unfolds where, Wildcard lose map 1, and then 2 real scrappy games, they claw it back at the 11th hour twice. Apparently there are 2 11th hours. I was not aware of this. And, it's just like, I don't know. Like, I mean, then like 5 fears is one thing. And then to go up against Wildcard when they went on their tremendous run, like that's just some Destiny shit. Like to me. And I don't know, maybe I'm way off base here, and you guys can kind of tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure both of you have been in the server where you're just like, we're just not beating these guys. And you kind of like, maybe that dawns on you. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could really think of it like that in terms of the wildcard match, because like you said, we were in control the whole time.
Yep.
We had many opportunities to close that game out.
Yep.
And the rounds just kept falling and falling. And yeah, I don't know. After that game, it was hard not to think like, fuck, we're gonna throw kind of like we did against SR. That I forgot what qual that was. EWC. Like that was terrible. The throws of all throws. It's just, I'm sure that's what a lot of people on our team are thinking. I'm sure Sean mainly, and myself were thinking, just like, fuck, like here we go again type thing.
To the point, by the way, about your playoff numbers, you lost 4 maps in the kickoff playoffs, and 3 of those you went to the brink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like 3 minutes separate you from being victors in 3 separate maps. Like again, and I'm obviously
crazy. If we won, let's say 3 more rounds, I probably wouldn't be here right now. Probably some
you would
team,
be prepping, yeah.
We'd practicing for the major, but here I am. It's just it's the nature of the job. It's how it goes. Kind of used to it at this point,
Which is sad because now very firmly in the upper echelon of best North American Rainbow Six players of all time, you'd think that you'd get maybe a bit more dignity than a tweet. And this is one thing that I kind of rolled over in my head was a lot of people were saying, oh, this came out of nowhere. Oh, it's quite disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. The part that struck me the most, and which I disagree with the most, if you're dropping a guy that's been in pro play for maybe 4 months and it's just a tweet like, thanks, enjoy future endeavors, bye-bye. Not that I think people deserve a big send-off, but like, that's fine. when DZ dropped Rice. Rice came in, played a little bit, drop him in a tweet. I don't think you really need more than that for a player like that. I'm just using Rice as an example. It's not about skill, it's just about your tenure. You were a core part of this roster's identity for, 2+ years. From Beast Coast to, Cloud9 Beast Coast to Unwanted and now here. I think what a lot of the orgs in Valorant are doing, which I really quite like, is they're doing candid. Well, it's not candid. It's usually scripted, but it's a video package basically explaining why they let you go. And for an org like M80, you want to be seen as a premier esports organization. I have no problems with that, and I think you could absolutely say that M80 is approaching that if they're not there with their success in a variety of esports. A tweet for one of the most iconic and successful players to ever play, who has now like a decade of experience in this game, 2 majors under his belt. You don't drop a player like that with a tweet. I'm sorry, you don't. If you're a fucking poverty organization and you don't have money to pay graphic designers or videographers, sure. But M80 has the funds to put somebody like Marco or Fabian on camera and say, this is a really hard decision, but we had to make this call, blah, 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 and walk through their reasoning. And to me, that's the biggest part of this that I'm frustrated by. It's like, obviously, I like you as a person, but it's like,
Parker, right? To be fair to them, technically, I'm not dropped. They could still do that.
Okay, but how often, Matt, does an IGL get benched and then unbenched?
Spiker.
Not very often. Yeah, Spiker. Well, Spiker wasn't IGL at that time, though.
He was.
No, I swear it's Bosco.
Maybe.
Even if we want to, because I don't think it's semantics. I think you were correct. You are benched. You're not dropped. You're still with the org. You're still under contract, but you're not playing. And now the IGL and captain of the team are gone. It is a de facto drop for a lot of people, and much of the community sees it as you being dropped. They don't see it as you being benched. They're like, Hotand's done. He's going to be benched. Shaiko wasn't dropped. He was benched. Yeah. Like, I think for something like that, if you want to try to help community sentiment, whether it be selfishly, whether somebody like Marco or one of the guys at M80 looks at this and goes like, we don't want to be the villains. We need to do this for ourselves. Even if they don't care about you in the slightest, it can be wholly self-serving. You stick Fabian or you stick Marco in front of a camera and you take accountability for the decision that's being made for a player as legendary as you are. And I'd say the same. If Troy ever gets dropped from Shopify Rebellion, I'd say the exact same thing. I think once you get to a certain point, you have earned a send-off that is fitting of your stature and your success. And I think a tweet that's sent out at like 8 p.m. Eastern or whatever the hell time it was, I don't think that's good enough for somebody like you. And I can understand why the community would be upset. The community's still going to be upset if they do a video, but I think it at least gives kind of a human presence and you see who's making the decision, who's making the call, and they take full accountability for it. I honestly think that would have helped M80 a lot. I think it would have helped you too, but I ultimately think it would have helped smooth over the situation and make it a little bit more understandable. Instead, now there's a couple paragraphs of why you're no longer there. You seemed stunned and caught off guard by it and when it was posted, and now here we are. So yeah. I think in a situation like this, it's, I've never owned an org, but if I was an org owner and somebody like you came onto my team and I made the call to get rid of you, I would be the guy sitting on camera saying, it's a shit decision, but I'm doing it for X, Y, Z. Here's why, best of luck, yada, yada, yada. So what do you think, Kyle? Kyle, would you, you go on camera for some of the DZ cuts? Would have you done that?
Absolutely.
I was going to say, old DZ did that for me. Mm-hmm. Yep. And it was pretty cool.
We did.
I don't know why, but I rewatched that video the other day, like a month ago or something.
In your fields. I was going to say, I actually quite enjoyed even Super coming out this last season and coming out and saying that they were going to make no roster changes. He would just like double down on the roster and gave the inner workings of the team. I enjoy all that content now that I'm just a viewer, being able to hear that kind of stuff and like literally hear the inner workings of the team. And I would appreciate M80 doing that. I'd appreciate any team doing that, right? SSG, 100, whoever's going to make changes. I do think that's, I don't know. It's just good for the team in that sense. I actually remembered my question, so I just want to quickly
go long
back.
Enough for you?
You stalled such a good time. It was so great. We were talking about IGLing, and you know, what would you reflected on the last 6 months? You wanted to be better in the IGLing, but I want to ask you, like, do you really think that's the reason for the drop, the IGLing? Because like it seems like Marco's the one making the change. He's obviously probably not listening to comms. Do you think more so? And like, does this affect you? Do you think he was stat watching? I think you got a lot of haters on your back right now.
For sure.
Negative 30 here, 22 here.
With the backyardigans chiming in. That's what I like to call them.
Yeah. Did you like Yardy's AI photo of you crying in a McDonald's uniform?
I don't see them. I have that guy blocked on Twitter.
So I mean, look, dude, I've said my opinions on Yardy before, but if I just got dropped from a team and somebody made a thumbnail of me in a McDonald's uniform crying created by an AI slop generator, I think that'd be the end. I think that's the end for me. I would.
Look, I'll give my 2 cents to Yardy. I think he's very funny guy. I mean, obviously his videos are funny. That's why people watch them. But that guy's a total just jackass. Let's be honest.
He said really nice things about me in the FET video, so I like him again.
He doesn't know shit about Siege.
Yeah.
His career, terrible. Highest he ever got was 5th place on the backs of Sweater and what was the other teammate?
Was that the Beast
Sweater and
roster?
Surf? Yeah. Sweater and Surf were carrying him. Then he became a coach. Then his team got like 7th or 8th place. Pretty sure right after they dropped him, they made the major. Guy's trash. He's funny though. I'll give him that.
There's got to be a line eventually, because it goes back to my point we made in the previous video where, you know, FET and Parker, like you guys were mainly talking about how the Siege community is toxic and negative and people just stat watch. And I mentioned that it seems to be like hate watch era, or someone even put it better in the comments, actually. It's like a hate watch culture.
It's just the young kids nowadays, to be honest.
But it's not just Siege. It's literally...
No. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's everything. And it's just like... And you could tell, too, by the way that Drip is slowly turning into being relevant again. And people are talking, have you seen the new Drip video? Have you seen the new Drip video? It's like people are fiends to just kind of make fun of and bully, in a sense, other people. And like, there's got to be a line eventually, because it's just like, we're literally talking about people's weight or the way they look. And it's just like, oh, and now we're talking in like pro circles, like, oh, he's just so funny. He's just so funny. He's just a funny guy. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but he's a funny guy. Like that's where, again, I'm okay with it in a sense of like, I'll hate watch the Eagles and see a guy drop a pass or two, and I'm like, cut that guy. That guy's ass, right? So I get the stat watching. Like that's just gonna happen. Like Matt's gonna go negative. When I was a player, I read a Reddit thread that like Mint's negative. Get rid of this guy, and then I fucking retired because of it. You know, like
a Redditor retired you. That is one of the most insulting things.
Yes. They said me and Luke, worst players of all time. That guy wasn't even a player. That was an analyst. I got lumped in with him. It's time to hang it up, bro. It was time to hang it up. Anyway,
I don't know how much you dove. I know this show's about Matt, but Kyle, I think this is actually great that you referenced that. Hey, you got a lot of people agreeing with you about like hate watching and how popular it is these days. And I mean, like, look, like I love to hate watch certain teams in the MLB. I fucking despise the Dodgers with every fiber of my being. And it's like, if they're ever on my television, every single time somebody's throwing a pitch or they're hitting, I'm like, I hope these guys lose. I hope they lose. Like, do I go out of my way to watch them? Not really. But if they're on, I'm a hater. I'm going to hate it as professional level as I can. Somebody had a very good reply basically saying that algorithms obviously boost interaction, and rage is the most, the easiest, I guess, like response or emotion to interact with. And it's just, there's like, I said this about Muda on the previous show, where it's like being a provocateur or a grifter is immensely profitable right now, and is like, I kind of respect the hustle, even if it shows you have no morals. Like, why not? Like, if Yardy being like a jackass, as you called him, lands him 8K views on a video, like, what the hell does he care? Like, that's money in his pocket, right? Like, so for a lot of people, they see it as like, this is a shortcut. The easiest way for me to get attention is to just be brash and just be insufferable and be obnoxious. And even if people are dunking on me, that's still giving me traction. That's still giving me impressions. Like, it is a horrible byproduct of social media and the way that we as a society have grown to be, but it is reality. I'll be honest. I don't like that we kind of have to go with clickbait titles for this show, but it's kind of necessary in the current landscape of YouTube. So it sucks, but it's reality. And I alone do not have the power to change the whims of a culture. So I succumb to it, and we succumb to it, and we come up with clickbait titles like Ali Mao reveals all, and it's like, you getting fucking naked on the show? Like, but hey, it's our 5th most watched video, so something's working,
Gotta click and find out.
Yep. We're gonna clickbait the hell out of you, Matt. I hope you understand. Our thumbnail is going to be you in a Starbucks uniform, because I think you're a little bit higher brow than McDonald's. It's going to be you in a Star or Dutch Bros, because technically where you live. We're going to have you crying in a Dutch Bros uniform. That's going to be our thumbnail for you.
I have worked at McDonald's before, a little bit of time before Pro League.
But presumably that wasn't a photo of you from your time there.
I haven't seen it, but probably not. No,
it's very obviously AI.
I just thought it was funny because obviously when the news came out, Max texted Matt. I called you Max. Sorry, I was talking to someone named Max. Matt texted me saying he got dropped early in the morning. I was like, what the hell? It finally comes out. I make my tweet. I say stunned. Makes zero sense because and we can still talk about it more, but for anyone that knows ball, Matt. You're not going to struggle to find a team, in my opinion. You're going to be one of the hotly contested. And we could talk about that. That's going to be no fucking problem. Orgs, we don't have enough good IGLs, and arguably, we're talking to right now the best current IGL in North America that's brought the region to majors. Has anyone done anything like that in the past couple of years? No. But anyway, I make my tweet, and it's just funny when you see the comments saying every once in a while. You'll read one that's just stunned. You're just saying that because you're related, or 0 cents. Yeah. This guy went -30. So, me, I'm a researcher. I click on the guy's profile picture, and lo and behold, I look at his bio. And what's his bio say? Yardy the goat. Hotandcold the bitch. Shaiko's still the goat. And I'm like, all right. This makes sense where this is coming from. But you know what? At the end of the day, you're right. Thanks for the fucking interaction. John, what the fuck's this guy's name? John NHD. Thanks for the interaction. Thanks for the comment. My Twitter's looking good on the interaction.
You need to tweet more, Mint.
I do need to tweet more. I need to hire a guy. How about that?
Why don't you just have Claude write all your tweets? Or Grok? Do you think Grok will write all your tweets for you?
Would that just AI tweets
for a certain price?
Oh, you'll do it. Yeah, you're kind of homeless now. Going back to our homeless days.
Would you say he's unwanted?
Ooh, even better. Even better.
I mean, we all think you're going to land on your feet. I know that you tweeted something saying I don't know what's next or something along those lines. But it's you still got so much left in the tank. I mean, I'm hopeful, and I think a lot of the community will share this sentiment. I'm hopeful that this isn't the end of your career.
I mainly posted that not because of what I was thinking, just because you don't know if I'll get on a team. There's not a lot of downtime, right after the major, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of teams already have their players. So who knows if I ended up coaching or something?
I mean, Mint could always use another co-streamer.
I know that.
I have been asking him. Turtle Tactics might also be looking for one. I might have to slide him the offer. But I'm curious what is going through your brain, because that's a good question. What is next for you? Are you feeling more motivated now than ever? Just like some of the other drops you've had in your past? Or is it just kind of a wait and see what the offseason brings kind of thing?
I don't know about than ever, but I still want to prove myself and get an SI. That's very big to me. And now I just want to prove, mainly Marco wrong and prove that he made the wrong decision.
Yeah. Well, I think you've made a good habit of that in your career. I think every time you've been dropped, we dropped you on DZ. And then the talk of the town is how much of a mistake that was. You go to Mirage and cement yourself as, I think, one of the top NA players right there. You then go to SSG. Afterwards, you didn't get dropped from Mirage. Okay, obviously they would not drop you. They weren't even paying you. You go to SSG. Oh, okay, good.
Did the money ever hit your account?
I never got any late payments from Mirage when I was on the team. It was after I left that the problem started.
They were scared
happening.
of you. Just like you and Dream. Dream also has always received payments, apparently. Anyway, you go to SSG and then you get dropped, and again, you become one of the best players on fucking M80, and you win or Beast Coast or whatever it was. Beast Coast.
Then you get dropped and then you come back stronger. You're like when they resurrect Matt. I don't want to exaggerate here, Matt, but it's like when Jesus came back. Okay.
I don't want to exaggerate. Pick the highest exaggerations.
Okay. Keep going.
We lock you in a cave for 3 days. You push the boulder and just all hell breaks loose, like.
Yeah.
I'll tell you my thoughts on I would love to see you go as speculation.
I'd love to.
Obviously, Matt, you can't say anything, but speculating, obviously people are going to look at Shopify and be like, well, maybe they haven't been performing. Maybe they're due for an IGL change. And I know Spoit's got a lot of haters. Shopify has a lot of haters because the more fans you have. So they're going to speculate maybe Shopify is another top team, depending how they do at the major, might have a spot for a little hot and cold here. Then there's going to be some people in the comments that argue, well, if you look at the stats between Matt and Troy, it's very minute. You could say Troy's been underperforming, but Matt, I think you're only like a couple point whatever stat wise off of Matt. But what I say to that would be, when you've replaced your IGL, you've replaced the system. If you guys are concerned about Shopify's system, obviously that's what an IGL does, right? You would play a little bit differently. If not for Shopify, because they're a loyal team, and also I still think very highly of Troy. First off, I think the people that shit talk Troy don't know what the fuck they're talking about. If not for Shopify, though, and the pressures that they're dealing with, I personally would love to see you on 100 Thieves, as we would get possibly an unwanted reunion tour with Adam and Spirits and Matt as 3/5 of the unwanted core. I personally would love to see that. I would also love to see Panbazoo stick with that roster, because I think very highly of Panbazoo, and I think the four of you guys right there with whatever your fifth would be, I think could be one of the teams, especially since they bombed out. It's just, I know they're a bit of a friendship team, but I don't know how much they're willing to make the changes, or the org is willing to make the changes. But that's kind of my speculative. I mean, we'll see where you end up. I also kind of hope, and maybe we could talk about this, but you said that maybe Gunnar and Ashn might be IGLing, and they would have to get somebody. It's who would M80 get? Well, Kaysen, for those who don't know,
here we go again. All right,
Kaysen's obvious choice.
It's got to say Kaysen's name in every episode.
I'm obliged to. I'm hired by Kaysen's manager at PR. Okay. So Kaysen, for those who are not aware, is the newest Stompin' prospect. The console switchover. He's been underage, and basically NA does not want to miss out. Right? We do not want to miss out on the next Stompin', right? That's where Kaysen kind of comes from. Kaysen's been grinding his way, and he turns 18, and I do know this, June 8th, which is 2 days before the NAL starts. Of course, I know this. Every GM has this marked in their calendar. Marco probably has this framed somewhere in his fucking house. Okay? He can't miss, because he's probably blamed for missing Stompin'. M80, you guys had Stompin' under the fucking organization as M80X. So the speculation is who has M80 going to get. Most likely Kaysen. However, the Reddit seems to think that there's a chance, we know Reddit detectives, that they could be going for someone like Savage and just replacing the IGLing and buying him from Secret, since they've been having not good success over there. And it seems like it's pretty easy to get out from underneath the Secret organization, since Joom and Adrian were able to. Marco also has the unlimited money glitch that he could basically buy any player he wants out of any organization he wants. So Savage, I mean, I don't know what your kind of glitch. I could use that glitch as well. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Matt. As far as another IGL replacing you, I know you also think highly of Savage. I also was a big fan of Secret and think they're one of the best teams, but I don't know if that's what M80 wants. But to be honest, I kind of hope it is what they go for, because that leaves Kaysen to go to 100 Thieves with you, assembling the next God Squad roster and assembling NA. We have many, many good teams now, and as a viewer, as an NA fan, I would love that as we start to spread our town a little bit more.
Well, let's say me and Kaysen go to 100 Thieves. Who are you getting rid of?
Gomez and Yaga, personally. That's just me. Maybe you make an argument for Adam. I would love Adam. I think Adam's one of their best players. I think Adam is.
I mean, Adam's nasty.
Adam's nasty. I think obviously you keep spirits because shields maybe are not in the meta as much anymore, and with the new op coming out, rumored to be like the bunker, like the shield buster op. I still think
it wasn't rumored. They had a fucking video of him shooting a Predator missile at the Monty and blowing him up. Like,
thanks for confirming that.
Kyle's just sad.
I didn't see that. You leaked.
Kyle's sad. He's getting nerfed.
I'm not a shield player. Come on.
Okay.
Wait, hold on a second here. It was in the SI video in the arena. What do you mean you didn't see it?
I was kidding.
You didn't watch.
Oh. I just didn't watch. I closed my eyes. I didn't want to be spoiled until the test server comes out. Then I'm like, oh, surprise, new op.
As far as
it's also supposed to be coming like the end of the year, isn't it? Didn't they say it was like, wasn't?
I thought it was next stage.
Is it next one?
Stage, pretty sure.
Next
Yeah.
Stage, yeah.
Okay. I might be wrong.
As far as my thoughts on them getting Savage, I mean, I think Savage is really good. Can't really hate on them doing that if they get him, you know. I would be curious to just see how it goes. So I think Savage is a really good IGL, but I don't know how he actually IGLs.
Of course.
And he probably wouldn't be used to Sean and like Liam having such a big voice. Trying to think on Secret who had big voice, maybe June.
Well, you can argue now they have big voices with Nafe and Citizen.
Now,
that might be part of the problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. But yeah,
is there any? What does the NA T2 IGL cupboard look like, or is it bare?
NA T2?
I don't think they would pull a T2 IGL. I really don't.
I've had people in my chat saying it's Franklin's time. It's Franklin's time.
I keep seeing Franklin's name, yeah.
Right? But like, here's the thing. M80 is an organization. They're not, sorry. I would be stunned. I would be absolutely stunned if Marco drops one of the best North America, if not the best current NA IGL right now for a T2 prospect. I know Fett just had a big video or a big rant on like, we got to give like T2 IGLs chances. But I refuse to believe Marco's sitting there probably pantsless because he's a boss like that. He could do whatever he wants at his computer with his morning coffee, watching DBNO like a good guy. Sees the Fett rant. Oh, we should give NA22 chance. Matt, you're fucking dropped. We're getting Franklin. Like I just don't see that happening in any world. M80 is a team that, like, again, we've already talked about. They've done that with Packer in a sense, and then got rid of him after a stage. But like, they're a team that wants to win now, and it's like, you're gonna develop now a T2 IGL. You know how long that's gonna take?
Yeah, and he would just get bitched by Sean. Let's be honest.
But that was the only rumor I've seen. Other than that, was like Kiru. I don't know where Kiru's name came into this because Diffuser played with him, I guess, at one point. So maybe Diffuser, he fake tiered to you, Matt. Those were fake tears as he gets his former T2 IGL to come in and win an SI.
It's D. D's the mastermind behind everything.
He's the mastermind.
I can see it.
When are you kicking that guy out, first off? Like, that he deserves to get kicked out of your house now.
I need him to pay part of my mortgage, man.
It's got to be awkward, though.
There, 2 hours ago on the subreddit, there is a post called "I honestly want Kaysen to join M80, not Savage." Mint's on his way over there right now.
I am on my way because I do think firmly. I'm telling everyone it's Kaysen. I don't think Marco wants to miss out. He's like,
yeah, it's one of those for sure.
I can't say who I had this conversation with because I was under an NDA at the time, but basically, some people like to think of him as Thanos, as he's collecting his Infinity Stones, and he doesn't want anyone to ever have a chance. Like, that was the reason he wanted Ashn, in a sense. Everyone knew Ashn was going to be free. In a lot of circles at the higher levels, Ashn is a generational talent. If another team gets Ashn, it's a weapon. So to someone like Marco, he's like, I don't care who I got to get rid of or who I got to drop. I am going to collect that Infinity Stone on my team so I don't have to go against him. Right? And I feel like to some people, Kaysen's kind of like that, where he's an Infinity Stone. We don't want anyone to have him. Someone's got to go. Let me pull up Siege GG. Oh, this guy's negative 30? Sorry, I don't care that you're the in-game leader and you call the attacks and defenses. They'll fucking figure it out. Gunner will figure it out. You were negative 30. I guess you're bad. because that's what the community thinks. You're dropped, case, and you're in. Like, that's honestly how I feel like it was.
I better not see Gunner on Monty. That's all I'm saying.
We thought they didn't have a shield player. Who the fuck is hopping on shields now?
If I see Ashn. Gunner on Monty, I think I might actually die from a brain aneurysm.
No, it's got to be Ashn, or they just... I mean, the talks before I was leaving were we were just going to slowly weed out shields anyways, at least off of Liam. And I was going to be the only shield player if we needed it. But even me, myself, was going to slowly, wean off of it.
Let me throw one thing out here. His name has come up a couple times, and I'm not saying that he would be a suitable replacement here, but do we think Geo ever IGLs at a T1 level again?
Bottom tier team, if any, but I don't think so.
I think he definitely could, right? He definitely could. I think he has the capacity to do it. Even on a middle to top team, I think he could, but it's just about like how much time he puts in.
Yeah.
I think that's the main problem. He doesn't really have the same time to put in as most pro players,
and
especially as an IGL.
Time because of age. We call this guy right here in the middle of us hot and old, or old and bald, right? You pull up the Wikipedia page of old and bald, he's 27 years old, which was back when I was in my prime, I would say, because you actually get better with age. Go check out the call out tweet. That guy knows ball. But let's Wikipedia Geo. Oh, born in 95. Geezer alert. Unk status. That guy's 30 years old. Imagine being 30, Parker. Imagine being in your 30s. Like,
that's old as shit.
Holy
R6
fuck.
Liquipedia Mint.
Whoa, no. That's wrong. No, that's wrong. Somebody edited
93.
that. Somebody edited that. It's actually 2003.
93.
It's 2000.
Wait.
Somebody edited
INTERRO, 1990?
I'm old. Hey, hold on.
But you're not a player.
All of you, I'm graying here. Like, it looks like my beard's not connected because it's all white hairs. Like, I've got like white hair in my beard. Like, I'm old. I started casting Pro League at your current age, Matt. Like, think about how long ago that was. Like, I was casting when I was 27. That was my first year.
In your prime.
I'm old. I've never shied away from it. At all.
You're a youthful old, though.
Thank you. It's the nicest thing anybody's ever said to me.
I love looking up INTERRO, and the first thing I always read is former professional Call of Duty player.
Which is wrong.
How was it playing with Nadeshot and Scump back in your day?
Which is wrong. I played semi-professionally on PC for like a year and a half, and we were on a good team, but like it was PC. There were like 50,000 people who played Call of Duty on computer at that point in time. Like, it was PC.
Not real. It's not real.
I didn't even know that.
Which is why I don't say it. But everybody loves to trot it out, and I'm also not like, I don't vanity search myself. I'm certainly not going to like amend my own Wikipedia page. I don't know. The first thing I would do is get rid of the photo on my Wikipedia. It's such a bad photo. I think we talked about this a little bit here.
Yeah. I prefer your Valorant photo. Your Wikipedia Valorant wiki.
I'm so glad they changed.
Really?
Mine.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I had a Valorant Wikipedia.
You got a Valorant. Yeah, as he's quickly vanity searching himself.
Now I'm
Wikipedia Valorant caster.
Now I'm. Oh yeah, that's my old photo.
Look at that.
Yeah, that was my old photo that I used. That was the photo that I used. That was from DreamHack Austin.
Looking fresh.
My hairline's largely unchanged. And that photo is 8 years old. Damn. I have significantly more gray hair now.
Wow.
Also, the makeup artists insisted on putting like powder in my mustache and beard to make it look so much more full. And I was like, man, imagine if I always look like that. Anyway, enough about me. Matt, you put out, I can't remember if it was a tweet or if it was an interview that we did like a couple years back, but you said something where you were like, the moment I turned 23, they put me on hard breach. Because I'm too old.
That shit was not 23, let me tell you.
18. I put this guy on Thermite. 18, he was on Therm. And he was nasty.
So I can't remember when it was. I might have been when we were still in Poland in ESL, and I did an interview with him, but you said that, and I just was like, well, you got 2 years to be a fragger, and then they throw you on Thermite and you die.
Yeah.
And then we had the hot Renaissance when you went to Mirage and you just killed everybody, and they're like, maybe this guy can still frag. Maybe we made a mistake.
The good old times.
Oh, yeah.
Might need to see
Simpler
it again.
times.
Just put me on Sledge. I was just a Sledge coach back in the day.
You were
Valk.
Would you be open to joining a team where you don't IGL? If the team wanted you to, or do you want to IGL? Like, is that the focus now?
We putting this guy on Ash?
I don't know. That'd be very weird if I joined a team and wasn't IGLing. It depends on the team. I mean, if it's like Falcon, sure, I'll play hard breach. Get me on bridge roll.
I would play anything on Falcons,
but
I don't think that's a controversial opinion.
If it's like,
I'm curious.
If I join a team and I think I'm a better IGL than someone, like, I don't know, I wouldn't be able to not IGL, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's a great little. You said Falcons. Would you consider going to other regions?
Yeah.
If the team's right and the price is right, for sure.
Which one's more important?
Yeah.
I mean,
China might be calling, buddy. I heard they pay well.
It's a dual edged sword, you know, like I need both of those things to be right to go. So I'm not gonna like, even if I'm getting paid, unless it's some crazy amount of money, but if I'm getting paid like what I'm getting paid on M80, and it's a team that's like I just don't really believe in, then I don't know. I don't know if I have that time in my career to like build something, you know. I mean, I guess I do. Like a year is enough time to build something, but
yeah,
you've got time. Obviously the big thing that eludes you is SI. It eludes most people that will play this game. You know, even if you never do lift the trophy, you know, at a 6 Invitational, you are still, again, like if there were a Hall of Fame, like you're a first ballot Hall of Famer, like no questions asked. You know, there are a tiny number of people in NA who I think people could say are better than you. I think some people would probably put you historically second. Like, I don't know. No. It's he's behind 9 line.
Behind 9 line, yeah.
Yeah, the GOAT.
Okay, buddy. Behind Fluffy.
Behind Fluffy. Fluffy, who gave me my first like major casting opportunity, so I cannot say anything bad about Fluffy. No, I mean, like if I were in your shoes, I would feel the same way. You know, like I'm just the type of person where I don't want to phone it in. Like, I don't want to work a job I don't enjoy. I do not care how much I get paid. If I'm not having fun, I don't want to do it. Like, you could offer me like $200,000 to clean up human shit, and I'd say no, because I wouldn't enjoy it. Even if the money is really, really nice and it would be quite comfortable, like, I'd rather make $40K working at a bookstore talking to one person a day. Like, that's like, I'm the kind of guy where I need to work a job I enjoy. The money is really secondary, but obviously the money still matters because I need to live. So like I couldn't go play for Elevate or Damwon Kia over there for decent money if I wasn't enjoying myself and I was far from home and I didn't know my teammates and all that jazz. So I get it.
Shit, if they're paying me 10 to 12,000, get me over.
So you're on money.
Okay, so very quickly that argument just destroys itself. Yeah, there we go.
I'm going to China League.
I don't think China doesn't allow imports, does it?
No,
I don't think they do.
I'm not sure.
But coaches, you're allowed?
I don't know.
Because me and Fett were both asked coach, and they do have import coaches.
Could be just players then, maybe.
Yeah.
I remember reading something saying that China was not going to fall victim to the same thing that APAC did because they did not allow like import players. So it could be coaches, but it was like one of my favorite things that Pojo Man ever said to me was we were flying back from the US Nationals, which was a vanity project by a former Ubisoft employee, where he wanted just an American league and Canadians weren't technically allowed to play. And then obviously there was like a loophole where they got a visa and they lived in the States, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Poj was told that he couldn't compete, but he could coach. And I just remember him saying where I'm too Canadian to play, but not Canadian enough to be prevented from coaching.
That was a ridiculous time.
That was just one guy at Ubisoft wanting to leave a legacy. That was literally it. And it got a shitload of money. And, you know, we got paid so poorly to work it, but they built a whole other studio for it across from the studio in Poland. And then I don't know if people remember, the very first broadcast was Emzo and Kix, and neither of them knew what to talk about because it was the first day. So they just kept referencing like stats that these teams had in Pro League. And we got an email like the next day saying like, don't say Pro League. So I decided to go with like malicious compliance, and I said the phrase what did I say? Other unaffiliated leagues or something like that, or other non-specific leagues. I think I said it 50 times on the show. And it got to the point by about the 20th time I said it that people in Twitch chat were like, why does he keep saying that? Like, why doesn't he just say Pro League? Just say Pro League, just say Pro League, just say Pro League. And next thing you know, the whole fucking chat got taken over by people just being like, why are they not saying Pro League? Are they not allowed to say Pro League? Like, blah, blah. Literally the day after that show, we get an email being like, as long as it's done tastefully, you can mention other leagues. And I was like, there's just one guy that just wanted to like create his own league. And then I got a free trip to Vegas. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, it was a fun event.
Yeah. You know that
won a lot of money
by the Thursday. Go ahead.
I said I won a lot of money off roulette tables that night.
It prior to them giving tickets away, I think they had sold something like 70 tickets with like a week to go. And I was like, that's not good. But anyway, fun time. And I miss Poach, as I'm sure both of you do as well.
Yep.
Do we have I'm just conscious of time here because this was an emergency episode, a bonus episode, we'll call it, I suppose. Emergency is probably the bad word to use. So we'll say bonus episode. I just wanted to ask a couple questions about the state of like NA, what you think of the game and what you think of the other North American teams. We are doing a super show in like 2 days, which you are welcome to join if you want to be the representative from NA. Kyle and I have been going through a list of people to bring on. Like, we don't really care, but if you don't want to do that show, it's going to be like 4 hours long. So you might have something to do with your life.
Like pre-major show or something.
Yeah. Usually when we bring on like one representative from each region. But I mean, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. You don't need to say yes or no here. But I do just want to get your thoughts on the teams that have qualified and what you thought of the rest of Kickoff. I'd love to know. You already talked a little bit about 5 fears. I kind of know what you think of 1 of 30. I'd like to hear that. So, I mean, this is kind of just like a free-flowing section now where you can talk about the other NA teams, talk about the state of the game. You can just kind of take the reins
teams
here.
Or just the major teams?
Whatever you want. If you think some of the teams that didn't make it are worthy of talking about, go ahead. If
you want to shit talk?
If you want to shit talk, dude, that's, again, not the purpose of the show, but we're not going to say no.
I think first things first, the meta nowadays, in my opinion, the way it's headed, it's almost like a Band-Aid fix for like a lot of these teams in terms of attacking. Like, there's so many like good power ops to use and like easy to use ops like Damo, Snake, Dokkaebi. Like, you don't need good droners anymore. You don't need people that, in my opinion, actually like understand higher values of Siege. It's very plug and play in my opinion in terms of attacking nowadays.
Would you say dumbed down?
Yeah, it is. It is dumbed down. It makes
you are not the first pro to use that phrase. I've heard the same thing about these Intel ops. So
it just makes IGLs lives easier and maybe allows for worse IGLs to be in the spotlight, in my opinion. But that aside, I think I'll just start with the major teams. In my opinion, I mean, I said it to Kyle before, I'll say it again. I think DZ, from playing against those guys, they are the best NA team. Whether they'll actually do something at the major or not, or if they'll, beat the other NA teams and lose to a random Brazilian team, we'll see. But I think those guys have the highest potential going into the major. Their defense is just insane. In my opinion, I feel like NJ is probably the best like defensive player in the game. Having like a backbone of NJ on the team with some of the best shots in NJR, J9. I mean, Fultz and Kyno are no slouches in terms of aim either, but those two especially.
Oh, Newers is?
What?
Newers
Wait, did I say NJ?
Slouch? Yeah.
I meant to say Newers, my bad. Newers and J9. Like, they just they're hard to fight and they're just hard to beat in general, even when they're having bad days. So I think they'll do the best. I am excited to see Five Fears because they give me a lot of like old Beast Coast vibes. Their season. I mean, our season, we lost our first 3 games and then we didn't lose a single game after that. But those guys are, like, not a lot of teams wanted some of those players. Like, they're all kind of unwanted players themselves. So for them to have that success and not lose a single map is pretty crazy. I just hope the pressure doesn't get to the new players in terms of LAN. JJ especially, I could see. JJ and, like, Rival. Who's the other? It's JJ, Fens. Rival, Snake. Okay, Fens, yeah. I'm not really worried about Snake or, Forest, because those guys have experience at LAN. And I think the make or break for that team is going to be Forest, in my opinion. How he does, because he's a big wildcard factor for them in terms of just getting shit done in the server. And if he's able to just do his thing, then I feel like they'll do pretty good. And they also, their playstyle, just if teams aren't ready for it, it's going to catch people off guard. So I'm excited to watch those guys. I think they got a lot of potential, but they might put too much expectations on themselves and then just fall to the pressure. I could see that happening too. Wildcard. I want to say Wildcard will slightly do worse than what they've been doing in terms of the last couple tournaments. I mean, they're obviously good. They can pop off and do really good at the major for sure. But in my opinion, the way they look right now, they don't look as good as they did before. And Baby Shark not playing like Baby Shark is going to hurt them at the major, especially. If someone else doesn't step up, and Baby Shark's still playing like how he did during the whole stage, then I feel like it's going to go bad for them.
He was statistically one of their better players at SI too, right? And
yeah,
there were a couple teams that, in kind of an odd move, stepped out to tweet about him, which I thought was quite surprising, saying how good he was and how important he was for that team.
I mean, he is an important piece. Like I was saying for 5 years, Baby Shark is the player on that team that can just kind of skew rounds in their favor, off of some hero plays. He's the one that usually will do that. So if doesn't have the confidence in himself, or he's just starting slow, I mean, maybe they have an early outing. Depends on the groups too.
Yeah, because there's different phases, right? So if 5 Fears finishing first is going to avoid that kind of meat grinder at the beginning, right?
I think all of them do, besides SR. SR is the only one that's in it.
It's last seeds.
I think SR will make it out of that. I mean, I'm not too worried about them making out of it. After that, though, I mean, it just depends if they let the pressure get to them like they always do. I'd like to think that they won't. Maybe they know it's kind of like a last dance thing, and that pushes them forward. Because whenever that's happened to me, that's kind of helped my teams, Just say fuck it, guys. Let's just give it our all. If this is gonna be our, our last time together, then let's just give it our all. Maybe they have that feeling and they think that. I don't know what's actually going on over there, but I think
you honestly think this might be a last dance for this SR core.
I mean, I think at least the players probably feel like that, right? There's a lot of rumors,
True.
Changes are happening. Changes were supposed to happen after SI. They didn't. So I know the players know that as well. So maybe even if it's not, they at least feel like it,
That's a good point. I mean, I think at this point in time, just given his age, I have to imagine that Troy is thinking next steps.
Yeah, he's probably already been thinking that.
Yeah. What are you waving your hand for?
Troy, Canadian is inevitable. I mean, I
never misses. Never misses.
He never misses, right? There's death taxes, Troy Canadian. I told you guys when we did our predictions who's going to make the major. Maybe I was wrong on M80 and SSG, but we ignore those. I said Troy is inevitable. He hasn't missed a major event since Berlin of 2022. He's making that event.
Yeah.
He's 29. I mean, what's Kerrigan? Like, I hate to reference CSGO and some other games, right? But, like, I do think, sure, Troy's probably thinking. I mean, you know him better than probably anybody. Living in, you being Canadian over there. And living here.
Ian Spoy came over for dinner again the day after they qualified. We didn't really talk a lot about Siege because that's not really the goal. It's kind of like to come over and just, burn off, like whatever energy you build up in the server and just kind of, shut your brain off. What did you say?
So just get out of the Siege.
Exactly. Like, I don't like to bring my work home with me. When I'm not working, I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it. I think that separation is really healthy. And I think the same, Troy obviously is a little different where a lot of his life is just Siege. And a lot of these younger guys, I think, are kind of the same. But the only real thing he did say, and I don't think it's nothing, like, it's not juicy. He just said, like, he's like, it was a lot harder than we anticipated. We've got a lot of work to do. That was basically it. And I mean,
in my opinion as well, I don't think Troy has to retire. I think,
but Reddit said
he does have it in him to win. But that really doesn't change how, the org, the GM, the team feels.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how they feel, but if they feel a certain type of way about that, then it doesn't really matter if he can or can't.
Yeah,
that's the thing about being old. It's your desire to want to keep playing when other things, as you get older, and your focus goes to some other things instead of gaming. But as long as I've known Troy, I full glaze at this point. I don't think there's like a hungrier player out there. Maybe I haven't been around him in the last year, but like my conversation with Troy, because I would talk to Brandon quite often as he's the Dark Zero GM BC for anyone who doesn't know. And obviously they moved off Troy and picked Nafe, and maybe a factor is Troy going to hang it up soon, right? You don't know. And as a team, you have to be conscious of that, of like finding the next leader onto the team, because like there's not a lot of good IGLs in North America. So Troy's great now, but like what's the plan B? What's the next step? But even after like that situation, he bounced back on Shopify, and it's like, even if Shopify do move off him because of the pressure or whatever it may be, I don't know if Troy's thinking about the next step. I think Troy might be thinking, fuck it, I'll go to a different team and I'll fucking do it again. Like, that's how hungry, like, Troy, like, that's the competitor that I know. Like, and I don't doubt that he could do it again, to be honest. I think there's still a lot of teams middling around NA that are kind of missing a leadership figure, which I think Hotandcold can also bolster here. That I do think he could fucking do it again. He's only 29. I know we like to joke about age being a factor. But again, Kerrigan was 36. CSGO is a completely different game. I get it. But I do think Troy could easily do it for another 2-3 years if he wanted to, before he even thinks about doing something else. That's just my opinion. Maybe because I'm old and I'm a dinosaur as well. But I do not think Reddit is right on this one. I do think they don't quite know what an in-game leader does. I do think Matt is right with the meta, though, being in a sense of like, you are missing the fundamentals at this point, because you can just walk around with the Dokkaebi, the Deimos, and the Snake, and you could walk around with shields, and you can, you don't need to be as good of a droner anymore, and maybe you don't see the importance of being a support player. But at the end of the day, even Stompin', even somebody at the end of the day, someone has to do the dirty work, right? There's still somebody on the fucking team that has to do the dirty work, and if you don't have that, and this is why superstar teams don't work. If you just have 5 fraggers on a team, somebody has to suffer. And why not someone like Troy for a team when he can offer so many other benefits? He's involved in the strategic, like the strat making. He's involved in the win conditions. He's involved in the comms and making sure no one gets ahead of themselves, and making sure everyone is on the same step, and the 3-2-1s and like the micro stuff that the public doesn't get to see. I still value, and I know a lot of like teams and other organizations value. And I could talk all day about how important an in-game leader is. And I don't think, Matt, to your point, hopefully the game eventually comes back to a point where we're going to still need support players, but that's just how metas work. We'll be up and down. I used to think this back years ago with Brandon on the when I was coaching. Like, we would have a conversation like, do we think the game is getting easier? Like, why are we all picking up fraggers? Where did the support players go? Like, this was this was years ago. And then Unwanted, we actually had 3 support players and we got top 4 SI. If you think about it, I loved that. The fact that we had more supports than we had like technical fraggers as you would see today. Siege is kind of in a place where I'll actually, you can kind of do whatever you want in the meta, in a sense that those teams are working with the high entries. But look at DZ. Fett had this argument last week. DZ's technically 4 backbone players and only one entry.
You didn't say that, I was going to say the same thing.
So it's in a good state in a meta, in a sense where like there's so many different ways you can play Siege. You gotta build around your team, man. You gotta build around your team.
Yeah, for sure. I think what you said about Troy is like, in my opinion, his biggest strength is, his grinding mentality and just making sure all the little things are done. That's always been his biggest strength, in my opinion. I mean, he's way better at that than I am, for sure. But I think the one thing he lacks in is just like getting off of that playstyle that he knows so well. Like, I feel like that's kind of bit him in the ass. Like, so many international best of threes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that comes from him or the coach, but I would assume that comes from him on attack.
It's more of that's how Troy plays the game. I can say with the experience being with him.
And I feel like that's the only thing that he lacks is just like the understanding where that you just have to get off of that sometimes, or the way of thinking maybe that he lacks.
If you all watched that cafe game that ultimately they lost, but that was the one where Ambi dropped like 20 kills or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did ask him specifically about that one because they said, have you rewatched the cast? Because I joked that Ambi and Troy were combining for 20 kills. And Troy obviously had 0. And Troy just did say very pointedly, and I really hope this isn't me like leaking something that's supposed to be secret. I don't think it is. But Troy basically just said, on cafe, I am designed to not get into any gunfights. He's like, I should maybe get like 2 or 3 kills on cafe. He's like, Surf and Ambi should be taking pretty much all my kills.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They literally both did that on cafe. That job was completed. So
that makes sense when you win, though. Right.
Well, I mean, if your fraggers aren't fragging, it doesn't matter what. If you got 3 guys on the team dropping donuts, I don't think any team's going to win.
Well, were they doing that? I don't remember.
No. That cafe game was a grinder game.
7-5. Yeah, it was close.
Yeah, it went full distance without OT, and Ambi finished with 20 kills. If memory serves correctly.
It happens to me too. It just feels like, some games I'm just never getting in gunfights, like actual gunfights.
Or you get gunfights, but they're not like when you're purposely designing a strat from a coach standpoint, you are putting your players that are better mechanically or better fraggers in the spots that the engagements are going to happen more often, right? Around the edges, at points of contention, like it's well known. And then you look at Troy's spots, he's going to be in spots that either he's got a whole SWAT team coming after him, roam clearing him, or the spots that no one really wants to play. And like those are the spots where like the engagements sometimes aren't 50-50. It's not just, he might be looking at like a 30-70 gunfight. He's probably not going to win it, but what else is he doing? Probably wasting time, or at least holding on to map control, or maybe his team's kind of baiting him for kills, right? That's how we look at it. And that's what I go back to someone has to do that. Someone has to be in those spots.
I think one of the biggest things that hurts Troy is right now is Spiker. A lot of people that don't have total full knowledge of how Wildcard differs from SR will turn around and be like, well, Spiker drops 10 kills a game. Why can't Troy? And it's just like, what does that say? My mother had wheels should be a bicycle. Why is something a certain way? Like, why was Kendrew top fragging with that British roster 7 years ago when no other IGL was doing that? Like, and then you'd look across the pond and you'd look at like the old Sonics team where Goddess would quite literally spend 2.5 minutes of a round outside the building or droning, would walk in, open up one wall as a thermite, try to get a diffuse kit down, and then die. Like how is she supposed to get kills? That's not the strat, right? It's a stylistic difference. And somebody in the comments actually said that, I was being overtly negative to like Redditors and parts of the community. And it's like, that's not the case. Like, I actually like the Reddit. I go on the subreddit every single day, and I think there's a lot of valuable stuff said there. But like with everything, there's a lot of people who have no idea what they're talking about. That's really just it. And it's like, when I'm on a broadcast and I say something like, oh, Troy going 3-7 or 3-8 is really not the end of the world. And then, Laxing goes, that's absolutely correct. And then you and Fett both on this podcast say like, that's spot on. And then like some Reddit I read a Reddit comment from an account that's like 41 days old, basically saying like, immense glaze trying to like protect his friend. I'm like, I don't think your opinion holds the same weight as everybody else who's just agreed with me, all of whom have won something, like, so it's like, I don't dislike Redditors and I don't dislike commentators. And I love when I read a lot of like, just like the errant comments on social media. It's the same as like the haters that we were talking about earlier. Like, it's at least activity. The worst thing is when nobody is commenting. If you don't get a reaction, that's bad. Like, I like it when people hate watch. Like, obviously I don't like that type of energy, but it at least keeps our esport alive, and it fosters debate, healthy or not. And I like people using that subreddit. I routinely on this podcast encourage our viewers to go over to the R6 Pro League subreddit and join it and start talking. I think it is really beneficial for our scene.
And it's pretty fun to look at sometimes. Pretty fun to look at.
Me?
I've seen you comment a few times, Matt.
Oh, the Reddit. Right.
Yeah, very few.
Yeah.
I try to stay off of it. But
it's when he gets rage baited. Like go back to the rage bait. If you want interactions, that's how you get them.
Kyle's a secret Redditor. Don't let him fool you.
I'm not like going on it. I mean, I routinely pull it up on my stream now and just read stuff and
he's got Smurf Reddit accounts that he comments under.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's not like I'm playing.
I mean, I have my Hey INTERRO Bang Reddit account that I use for like Rainbow Six stuff, and then I have a normal Reddit account that has a completely different name that I use just for. I never comment, but it's just like I try to keep that stuff separate.
Yeah,
I think that's healthy, right? Like, are there any more NA teams that you want to talk about?
We could just go down the list. Packers team.
Yeah, that was one I wanted to hear about. I want to know your take on 1 of 30.
I think they're a pretty solid, like, fundamental team. Like every player on that roster kind of knows their role and they do it pretty well. I think Packer adds a lot of he's kind of like I was joking with Sean. I was like, did you learn everything you know from Packer? Because they kind of play very similar if you watch them. Like, they're very just lurk heavy, very rat heavy. They do their own thing, and that's what Packer's good at. Like, he actually does pretty good at it. Mike W. I mean, he had a pretty good stage this stage. I think he's their best fragger at the moment. I don't know, all their fraggers.
I like Mike a lot, man. I like Mike W as a personality, but I think that guy is very good. Like, genuinely good. Very good.
I know people call him a baiter. That's what I've heard. But from watching his games, I don't really think he's baiting. I think they got a good foundation.
Entries.
I was gonna say, every time I see Mike, he's walking into a building and killing 2 people. Like, I don't.
I know he gets a lot of spawn peaks. I know he, like, at least from watching his last couple of games, like, he's gotten spawn peaks like 2 or 3 spawn peaks every game.
I mean, 33 and 12 on the entry, plus 21.
Yeah, you can't really call that a baiter.
Let me go compare that to Diaz real quick. 33 and 12, Diaz Lucas.
The baiter of all baiters.
I just had it. And he went, that's Mike Dubb. Okay. Inevitable that I have to look at Mike Dubb. 2-1. 2-1 on the entry.
That's just insane. Isn't Diaz like the highest rated too right now?
Yep.
That's insane. But yeah, I mean, I think 1 of 30s, they're pretty solid. It seems like Bino's a decent IGL for sure. And I think he actually played, I don't know what he actually went at this stage, but I feel like he played better than what I've seen of him before. So
it's so hard to compare to that LFO Orglis team though, man, because like they got like Luminosity pulling out at the like last minute must have absolutely killed any momentum those guys had. Like,
when I just think, yeah, those guys don't care as much, but it's hard to care when you're not getting paid, you know?
Yeah.
So
when people are comparing you to Team Cruelty, things are not going well. Like,
what other
I think I just gave Mint a stress headache.
100 Thieves. I mean, you said earlier, like, you're hating on 100 Thieves, like them being just totally off of other teams' levels, but all their games were close. They should have beat SR, and SR shouldn't have made the playoffs, honestly. But SR ended up beating them. I feel like 100 Thieves they're all very good players, but I mean, everyone kind of knows and have said they don't really have a good leader or an IGL. And I think you can see it in their games. Like they are so slow and they stall out so much on attack. They just it just seems like they don't know what to do. Or if their first thing doesn't work, then they just lose off of time every time. Defense wise, I don't really know how they did or what their problems were. I'm gonna be honest, but
they get pulled very, very heavily.
Yeah.
They all love to run to wherever the initial contact is, and you play against a team that's split 5 years. You're just walking into fucking side on the other side of the map.
I think that also kind of stems from like a lack of leadership, right? I mean, maybe they do have the defensive leadership, and that's what the calls are, but you need someone calling the win cons and stuff throughout the round for for your team to be making the right moves. And it just seems like they don't have that. But they have really good players, good potential. All they need is just that missing piece, in my opinion. Adam, Zagahi.
Oh, you're familiar with them.
Those are top players right there.
You're familiar with them.
What did you say, Mint?
He's familiar with them. He knows who they are. I mean, he might have gotten top 4 with a couple of those guys.
I know what they can do.
He knows.
If you don't mind me asking, since you're benched, I imagine if 100 Thieves did want you to come IGL the team, I have to imagine there's a buyout that would need to be done. You're not able to just walk. I don't think M80 is just going to release you. Right? Are you allowed to even talk about that? If you're not allowed to talk about it, feel free to say. I'm curious
sure if I'm allowed or not, but I want to say
I want
to say there isn't one.
There is no buyout?
Yeah. They're just letting me go for free.
I mean, that would be big. That'd be very charitable. At the end of the day, esports.
Yeah,
that'd be very charitable. I mean, at the end of the day, esports are a business, and Matt, frankly, you are worth money. So, I mean, if they wanted to say like, yeah, you got to pay us $15,000, $100,000, $2 million,
they could completely hoe me if they wanted to, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping they don't.
Well, what about the other side of the coin? You're just benched. What if they say, hey, I'm on back, man? Just kidding. Minus laxing plus laxing, baby.
I was going to say, how would you handle that?
Fabian did say that was an option. And the biggest thing for me in that is like, it's not like the team wanted me gone, right? So I don't think I would be that opposed to it, to be honest. If it was like the team wanted me cut and then they couldn't get someone, so then they want me back, then it's different. But it's an org decision, so I don't really fault the team for that. And I would just be playing for them mainly at that point.
Makes sense. That laxing situation was it was really entertaining, but I gotta say, it earned me a lot of respect for Gabe. Like, because he basically just said, like, it's a business. They thought that there were better options there. No hard feelings. Like, I came back, I played my best that I could. And I'm like, that's the right attitude. Like, we are obviously emotional creatures. Some of us control our emotions better than others. But, like, relaxing to be able to handle that, I think that really spoke to his character. I was very impressed.
I mean, I think that is the only way you should really look at it. Unless your teammates are just talking shit on you the whole time and trying to cut you, it's like more snakish stuff. But if you get dropped from a team, usually it's for a reason, whether it's right or wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, like, look, I heard stories of the less than harmonious living situations and team atmospheres in Vegas. They're There's one player in particular that they basically just said like, hey, you're not performing well on your role. We're going to start trialing people. We might not drop you. We just want to see what's out there. And that player literally like barricaded themselves in their room for like 2 days. And then in the middle of the night just left. Like, you know, you hear stories like that and you're like, this is a professional player competing under an org, making a salary. And that's how they handle it. Like, not that I can fault them because it sucks. And obviously, again, there's an emotional aspect to it, but it's like, it's not going to endear you to future teammates because people will talk. Like, that's going to get around. And let's say another team wants to give you a shot. They know that that's a potential way that you handle conflict. That's not a plus. That's not something going down in your win column as a player, you know?
Yeah. What other teams have I not talked about?
SSG. You talk about teams that were close. SSG was so close to pulling off the hate watch of the entire year, upsetting DZ.
I was watching. Waiting. I mean, we watched it together. I think, right?
Yeah, map 3, but yeah.
I mean, I think SSG kind of has everything they need to, right? They have the best flex player in Aiden right now, in terms of stats wise. Like, his stats are fucking insane. I didn't know that until after the stage, looking back at it. Yeah. Mitch is always a good backbone.
The sexiest player. Dream.
Yep, good vibe. Then I think Raid Bullies is kind of their wild card. Whether he does good or not is a big driving component to them winning the round or winning the game. But he's a rookie, so like that makes sense, right? Whether the rookie is doing good or not. I think next stage will be a big answer to him, or like for people to see how Raid Bullies actually lives up to the hype or not. I think Giddy is pretty solid. And who's your last? Rival. I mean, they all play their roles pretty well. I think they got a good system going on. Mitch seems like he's doing pretty good job at IGLing. Those guys are also pretty good with the cheese stuff. So they just got a bunch of mix and match ways of attacking, and it helps them a lot. Can't really say anything bad about them other than maybe like some consistency problems, right?
And consistency problems is fair. Again, Aiden going plus 57 as the highest rated NAL player, maybe even the most positive player across any big 3. I don't even know. Definitely up there.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Like, is he going to be able to go plus 57 every season?
Probably not.
Probably not. So someone else got to step up. Rival's also young and new, though, right? Yeah. He only really had a shot on DZ, and we knew who that went. Looked much better here. I was kind of impressed with him. And then, like you said, Raid Bullies, his first stage, pretty positive. I mean, +3 on the entry, +2 overall. Overall, good team. I think it's got it. This is the people's team, Matt. This is what I say.
It just seems like their problems, like even as a core, they're always like right there, and then it just slips for them. So they just need to get over that hump. Maybe that's a mental hump. I don't know. But yeah, I think they're the closest. And then Outlast, I don't know how those guys made Pro League. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I really don't know how they made Pro League. I mean, they had to have just caught the wind, the momentum, and just sailed right into Pro League. But yeah, I don't know. Every time we scrim those guys, it just doesn't feel like I'm scrimming a pro team.
So,
I'm not trying to hate. That's just how it feels.
You've got experience playing against these guys and Cruelty. Do you think
Cruelty shits on those guys?
Yeah?
Yeah, they shit on those guys. I'm so sorry. Wow. I mean,
wasn't the Cruelty roster in their qualifier and the spiritual successor?
No, yeah, that's the thing is like that. In my opinion, there are better teams that didn't make it from those quals, but I mean, that's kind of how quals go, right? Like whatever team's the best at that time are going to win. Outlast was the best. I mean, I think some of their players have potential. I think Trev has potential to be a pretty good caller for sure. I don't think he's a bad player. And then I'm trying to think who would be their second best. I mean, all of them had bad stats, right? Because they just got shit on every game. I honestly couldn't tell you who would be their second best player or like up and comer. Why are you smiling like that, Kyle?
I mean, they definitely struggled. I like those guys.
I was going to say, he says turtle bullshit.
I don't dislike him either, but...
Whoa, I wasn't going to say turtle tactics. I could throw out buzzwords, turtle tactics, Richie. We're scrimming Gunner, actually, and coming up soon here. That's
just by himself.
We're scrimming Cloud9 plus Gunner. He's apparently working on his IGLing. So that's going to be fun on stream. Too bad this episode will be out too late. But hey, guys, go back in the twitch.tv/mint if you want to see, anyway. No, Outlast, you nailed a spot on. I just like to mess with those guys and say 6 rounds. You guys won 6 rounds. I mean, at least you won, 5 more than Leviathan? I mean, sheesh.
Yeah.
And Tara, you're actually a funny joke now. Because you probably don't realize it, but every once in a while in your cast, you'll just randomly be talking about the game, and then you'll throw a little Outlast dig right in there. You've done it twice now, and every time we start cracking up, and then I start doing it on purpose, and I'm just wow. I'm like, wow, Ambi got 6 kills right now. He got the same amount of rounds Outlast got in Pro League in 4 matches. You know what I mean? What did you say? It was just I think it was about maps. It was about the last time Wildcard played Clubhouse, it was a 7-3. Yeah. It was a 7-1 win, but it was against Outlast, and those guys are kind of ass. Or you didn't say
you
that.
Have to though. I know that it sounds like I'm putting them down, but you got to provide context.
Yeah, of course. So now we just got context all the time. You already got 5 kills. That's more kills than Millie has in all of Pro League.
Is that true? Did Millie only have 5 kills?
No, he's got 12 or something.
I was like, there's no way.
Enemy did drop more kills in a game than him.
There's no way that guy's getting a single kill a map.
I mean, 12. Pretty sure he has 12, which many players drop more than 12 in a game.
That's 3 kills. That's 3 kills a game.
It's not good. And honestly, he's the player I would have thought, because you were saying you don't know who's good on that team. He's the player I would have thought that he could compete. He had a lot of people vouching for him. He was dropping double digits every single game, getting them into Pro League. That guy is supposed to be the truth, and obviously shit the bed. Hopefully they figure their stuff out, but I think this next stage is going to be really important for them in the sense of if they don't improve any much more, you got to make roster changes, right? And even then, I don't know who's joining you. I know Grixer's out there and Kobe Lax are out there, but they're not joining this team.
To be honest, if I'm them, I'm making roster changes this stage.
Now, I agree.
I'm just pulling the best T2 players I can,
Well, the best T2,
if not low Pro League players, but
yeah.
I mean, there's better players out there than some of these players. I don't know if their team vibes are good, but doesn't really matter. Oh, we didn't really talk about C9 either yet.
No, my small thoughts on a team like Outlast is that I think the quickest way for them to improve is to pick up some of those guys who either aren't competing right now or have competed at one point and have potential, and then build the team around that. But my knowledge of this team, and I could be off base here, is that they're largely friends as well, and they've got kind of their own identity and their own group, and it'll be really hard. Let's say Grixer and Kobe joined the team. It'd be kind of odd trying to fit into, Trev Mac's system, and then you have 2 newer guys, right? To me, it would be more you'd have to kind of drop Trev and maybe 1 or 2 other players and bring in a younger IGL or bring in somebody like that to then build around it. Because I don't know if you could replace 2 of the other players and bring in more experience unless you just go the T2 route and you just start bringing in younger players to, get their reps and all that jazz. They're in a bit of an odd spot, and I mean, they need to improve. I like those guys a lot. I liked when they came on the show. I didn't know much about Millie. He impressed me with the way he spoke. Obviously, I've heard of Trev. Trev seems like a cool guy, but just because you're nice guys doesn't mean you're a good team. And I mean, there's 5 players on that squad that put up one of the poorer performances that we've seen in the NA in quite some time. The one thing this whole conversation I think is a little bit missing, and I think we kind of need to ask this, is I know there's a major spot on the line, but don't we feel like it's a little bit too hasty that we're already writing the obituaries of teams after some of them have played 4 maps? It seems like we're being a bit too quick to judge some of these rosters.
Maybe for you guys, but like I've scrimmed these teams many maps.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And my quick segment of defending Trev is it's pretty hard as an IGL when you're just trying to get initial map control and your fraggers are minus 20, minus 15, minus 30. Like, we can't even get in the goddamn fucking map.
If you watch their games, though, like, those guys don't move. Like, they don't get in the fucking map. Like, they don't force the issue ever. They're the slowest team ever.
And like, predictable. And predictable, yeah.
Yeah, like, the most predictable and slowest team in the league. And they, like how are you going to win XX when that's the combo? Like, it's already hard to win XX as is sometimes. But now you have so low time. And, their confidence is probably just shot, because how can it not be if you're getting destroyed like that left and right? But even in scrims, they're not faster though. It's weird.
That's what I was going to ask, if they were any better.
They're still super slow, and just what take they're doing instant. So if they could fix that, I mean, maybe they'll do better. But I don't know why that is. Maybe they don't have real entries.
I'm writing the obituary.
Cloud9, I think is the last team here to talk about. Then I want to ask your predictions, and then just because I'm wary of all of our time, we all actually have commitments today, so we are kind of strapped for time. So there is a natural endpoint. But yeah, Cloud9
in scrims, those guys are honestly pretty good. I think they're very well rounded. Maybe they don't. The worst thing is they don't have a true like late round shot caller like for XX. That is their worst thing. But outside of that, I think they're pretty well rounded. Like, they have actual decent aimers, Kixrow, Uzi. Those guys are pretty good. I think Sentir is a pretty good shield player. Eddie is just a decent flex. I mean, Focal underperformed in my opinion, but in T2 he was always a decent flex. It's just hard for a team like that to really like have motivation. If they don't have their own inner just want to win, which I'm sure some of these players really don't. Like, they don't get paid a lot. I don't know their exact salary, or even I don't know their exact salary, but I know they don't get paid a lot, and it's just hard to live and make this game your life when you're not getting paid a lot. So I'm not sure if they'll ever make that next step, but I do think they have potential to make a next step. Maybe with a roster change or two.
Let's be honest though, their next step is someone hopefully performing on that team and them getting farmed to a better team.
Yeah.
Because they're a farmer. With the org getting paid what they are, they're not getting any more money. We already talked about that, I think, during it.
Or they just hope they have a good stage and they get a different org,
Maybe. And then maybe some changes could happen there.
Yeah.
I think that
there's a huge drop off though from the top 6 in NA to the bottom 4, in my opinion. Let me see who the top 6 would be. It would be DZ, Fears, M80, Wildcard, Shopify. How many is that? 5?
I wasn't doing math.
DZ, M80, Shopify, Wildcard, 5 Fears.
It's 5.
Okay, I mean, maybe we have more than 6. Like, SSG would be the 6, right? But then, in my opinion, 100 Thieves should be up there somewhere.
I am curious if 100 Thieves is able to make a roster change or two and unlock their potential. I think they are a team that can, on paper at least, contend against some of the top 5 squads. Don't necessarily know if they'd be the best team in North America, but I think they'd be much better. And frankly, they looked downright bad when you watch them play. But again, this is a team where if you look at the landscape in North America, they shouldn't be bottom 2. But they were, right? So it's like if they can figure that out, I think they can leapfrog over, your Cloud9s, well, obviously, I guess they're on the same page as Outlast. Like, and I mean, let's use M80 also as an example. On paper, amazing team, but without you, who knows what's going to happen to this team? If they do bring in another IGL and they don't do it internally, they don't have like Gunner or Ashn pick up more of that IGLing. If they bring in a new IGL, success might take some time to be found. And if they do ultimately bring Gunner or Ashn on and change up roles even more, you've got two guys who don't have anywhere near the experience that some of the other IGLs in the league have. Who knows if M80 is going to be able to bounce back? Like, I understand like why they would think of benching you if they want to try to push for higher, but there might be a setback before they can start to climb again. So it's like M80 could be worse in stage 1 than you guys were. Like 100 Thieves could turn the ship around. Like that puts teams like 1 of 30. That put teams like 5 Fears, if they're not the real deal and they're just a flash in the pan and it's going to take some time for them to get figured out. That could push those teams down, the depth charts. I don't know. But the one thing that we always cite in our casting is how much upheaval in North America has caused us to have to basically throw out our preconceived notions of who's going to do well and who's not. Because there's no universe where I would have had 100 or I would have had that 100 Thieves roster dead last. It's just none. And I think a lot of us are, maybe some people are going to be like, I knew it. But I think there's a fair group of people who know what they're talking about who are very surprised by that result. So,
yeah, I mean they were also on the tougher side of the bracket, right? Think about it. It's us, 5 Fears, SR. Is there one more team?
Yeah, there was. Let me pull it up here.
1 of 35 Fears.
1 of 30.
Shopify.
Yeah.
All
and
like
1 of 30 honestly
teams.
didn't look that bad. Like,
no. Them losing
I mean,
that
on
game
the other
hurt
side,
them.
you just have Cloud9 and Outlast.
Mm-hmm.
And Wildcard had a really bad group stage.
Yes.
But I mean, like, if Wildcard has a really good group stage, it's likely DZ, Wildcard at the top, and then Space Station in third.
Mm-hmm.
Space Station surprised me probably the most. I mean, 5 Fears surprised me the most of every roster. Let's not kid ourselves here. But like, Space Station surprised me a lot. I looked at that team initially, and I was like, if they don't frag, those guys are doomed. And then they fragged, and they did really, really well. And I was like, okay, well, Fears put to rest. So I think
Then we have our attack season. Aiden Tax. It was Aiden Tax time. The console takeover is real, and maybe we'll have to.
It's been real forever, though.
It maybe, but maybe it's time we talk about that pretty soon. It's console season.
Yeah, which is great, and I know that we don't talk about console enough, and if you've made it this deep into the podcast, I don't know how many people do watch all the way to the very end. But
my mother.
Shout out Mama Mint.
Hello, Mama Mint.
She'll love that.
Shout out Mama Mint. I have nothing against console. I think it's great. I think it's in a lot of ways kind of the lifeblood of this community. We as PC players tend to look at all the people who stream play on PC, and a lot of the all the pro players are on PC now because there is no console pro league. But like Jinxie,
console keeps the game alive.
Entire community, like, it's massive, and it keeps this game alive. And it's like, if you underrate or you diminish the console crew, like, you're doing it at our game's detriment. Like, I understand that there's frustration with maybe the way that console players see balancing and see the game, and maybe it causes friction when it comes to changes to operators and stuff like that. But we are a large tent. We are a very big tent of people with very different viewpoints. And unfortunately, us PC gamers are outnumbered by the console players. So it's a reality that we have to get used to. And even if it is frustrating at times, this game would not be what it is without the console scene. It's just pretty standard stuff.
Get Mingo on a pro league team.
Yeah, he's next.
If he wants to. I don't think he wants to, but
his T2 script's been going well. He might want to. I think I saw something recently where he just kind of wants to like prove that he can. I think that's the thing with the console players is like all the big names. It's like, at least even talking like Richie, Turtle Tactics. I'm sorry to that Parker.
Turtle bullshit, dude.
It just seems to be like they don't want to be like every console switchover as a big name is kind of making it into the league. Aiden Tax and Raid Bully's kind of being the latest one. Kaysen's about to be on fucking M80 after this. Like, No one wants to be the one console big name that doesn't make it, or you're the joke almost. It's like they all kind of grew up playing against each other.
Like
so.
a lot of those big console like streamer guys don't need to play Pro League. They're already making money.
It's not. I 100% agree, but it seems like at least for them, it's not about the money. It's more the ego out of it, maybe. Like
Bolo didn't need to play Pro League. Spoit didn't need to play Pro League.
Yeah, but
they wanted to. They could hang. Bolo won a world championship.
Those
Spoit
are kind of different,
major.
in my opinion, because they did want to play Pro League before they got big.
Did Bolo though? Because I had conversations with him before he was pro
when he was 16.
And what was and why didn't we pick him up?
And that guy was cheating.
Oh, whoa!
That guy was cheating back then.
We had everyone DMing us. This guy's cheating, sending us clips left and right. Jeez. He wasn't 16 though. He was like 14 at the time.
Something around there.
13.
No, he's like 16. He's not that much younger than me.
What
I was going to say, I think it was 2019 when he made his pro debut. So when the game launched, he would have been 15, right?
Let's see how old he is. He's 2001, so 3 years younger than
the game launched in the fall of 2015. So, yeah, he probably was 14. He would have been 14, 15-ish, yeah, somewhere in that window, depending on when his birthday fell.
Gonna say, when I was starting to watch his content, I was like, everyone was like, this game's gonna die before he turns 18.
They said the same about Yaga. Then they said the same about Ambi. Like
everyone. Yeah.
Now it's gonna be Kaysen. Kaysen, why even go pro? Just do content. Like pro's gonna die in a year.
Then it's adept.
Somewhere out there, there's a 10-year-old child who, in 5 years' time, we're gonna be saying this about, and we're gonna be like, the moment that guy is ready to go pro, this game's gonna die.
What's
the cycle's just gonna keep going?
Nesk's kid or Cyber's kid? Like they're probably next up. They're next up. Yeah, Bo.
I was going to say, Bo's got a kid.
Maybe.
Who knows?
They'll make a team. Matt, you're up next. 27.
It is crazy. I am double the age of the rookies.
That's a lot.
Wow.
I said that. I've said this, and it's like I, as a human being, wrestle with aging. You know, like it sucks. Like I wish I was carefree, and I wish I was in my early 20s and had my health and was basically indestructible. Like, you know, now it's like you sneeze and you can't walk properly for 2 days. Like, that's just what getting old is. And it's like, it's a reminder that you are slowly but surely marching towards your death. And that's a philosophical and, you know, I guess personal conversation for another day. But when I was younger, you know, and I was 27, a lot of the pros were like 22, 23, 24 at the time because they hadn't really aged out yet. So it was like when I'd go to events, it was like hanging with people my age. Now it's like I go to events and it's like, if there aren't other older people there, I feel like I'm leading a daycare. So.
No, yeah. Going from teaming with like the old DZ guys to teaming with just a bunch 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds is a lot different.
What do you think Pojo would think of Gunnar as a teammate?
He'd probably like him.
Pojo was chill.
No, I was going to say, I think Pojo would fucking love him.
Yeah,
I was saying that bad.
Sean gets very bitchy sometimes. I mean, I do as well, but
we all do.
Yeah,
you're right. We were one of the oldest teams, DZ, I think, at that time, especially if you counted our coaches. We had a lot of age.
You were very mature. You guys, it was a very mature team. It was a very, very mature team.
And then as I transitioned to coaching, you're right. Like, yeah, I'm in my 30s, and we just picked up a new 18-year-old fragger. And now it's like we all got to live together in the same house, and I got to watch this guy not know how to do laundry. And so it's fun being a coach because, like, in a sense, you get to teach him life.
We had to teach Paul how to do, or Hyper how to do laundry.
Kobe Locks as well. Kobe Locks. Pretty sure. I
think SSG had to do the same with Luke.
Luke being Ekel, Ekeul.
Yeah. I mean, he was the actual kid, like when he joined SSG. Not even 18. I don't think.
In defense of these children, I don't come from a very, like, I guess, like, in terms of the globe, I come from a privileged perspective. But I come from a blue collar family. not a lot of money, not very privileged, and yet my parents still like largely cooked my meals and like tidied the house and did all that, and I didn't have anywhere near the responsibilities that would have allowed me to know this stuff. Like I didn't cook a chicken breast until I was like 29 years old. Like
what?
Yeah, like I mean, it's just I don't judge people that way because like I know that there are some people that don't know how to do stuff because they are just so aloof and they are so privileged that they don't need to, and there are other people where it's just like they do other stuff and maybe there are things they don't know how to do. Like I know how to do my laundry when I was younger. I knew how to clean. I could clean an entire bathroom. I knew how to vacuum. I could do all that shit. Like I just didn't really know how to cook. And that's because my dad liked cooking. So he would cook most of the meals and that was it. And I was like, fuck, I guess why am I cooking for my family when I'm, 23 years old in university living at home?
Yeah.
That's like, I get it.
I wish I lived back at home longer than I did. Might as well just do it. Just soak in it while you can.
Yeah.
Save up money.
I mean, save money, be free.
Free food. Yep.
I think it depends on your relationship with your parents too, though.
Well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. I got friends that are like, I had friends that were like, the moment I'm 18, I'm out.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get it. And then it's like, I had friends where it's like their parents basically just never existed. They just had a nice big house in suburban Toronto to themselves. Where are your parents? I don't know. Okay.
I think I actually read lately that the average age to buy your first home in the US is 40 now. Which is it's crazy to me, but like, I'm in an apartment. I feel it. I get that.
Yep.
I want a house too, but 40? Dang. Makes me feel a little bit better.
The big difference that you guys have versus Canada is that you have a lot more places to live. Like there's only so many cities that people want to live in here in Canada. In America, it's like you could probably go buy a house in a 50,000 person town in Nebraska for very affordable prices.
Yeah.
We don't really have that option. What'd you say?
I just said yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Like we don't really have that option. We don't have as many places to live. So it's like if you grew up in New York City and you're like, New York is home. Yeah, you're never going to own a home there unless you're very wealthy. Like, but you look at like Mississippi or you look at like Nebraska or you look at like Utah. It's like you could probably go buy a house there quite affordably. Like we had Alberta doing that for a while, like Calgary and Edmonton, the two big cities. But even then, like there's been so many transplants that the housing prices there are shooting up. It's like we're just kind of fucked. Unless you want to live in the middle of nowhere, you're kind of boned here, and it's brutal. So yeah, stay at home, save money, and realize that sometimes home ownership isn't for everybody. Sometimes it's actually more affordable to rent. Yeah. I'm a renter, so like I get it.
Speaking
the place
of renting,
that you live in
was rented by M80. So thanks for coming on the show, Matt. No, I'm just kidding.
We are at the natural conclusion of the episode, by the way. We typically, just for the algorithm and stuff, we typically don't give the floor over to the guest and be like, like any final parting words, etc., like blah, 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 because that's just not usually how the episodes go. But Matt, you just went through hell yesterday and you are well-spoken. And I think a perfect way to cap off the episode would be for you to give your final words to your fans, to the haters, to whomever you want.
I think, first off, I don't think it was hell. It could have been a lot worse. Yesterday didn't hit me as hard as some droppings have. I knew it was an option. And I mean, I'll be back. I've always been back after getting dropped. Hopefully it'll be better. And, hopefully it gives me a little more fire, a little more fuel in the tank to keep it going. So hopefully, I think it'll be a blessing, but we'll see. If my career just spirals out, then it is what it is. I'll come back as a coach and win with another team.
I was going to say, I mean, you did win 2 majors. I do have to wonder if that makes this drop a little bit less impact, like hurtful. You've won it all except for SI, right? At this point. So, well, not at all, but I mean, like you've won the next biggest to SI. So
I think it just is less hurtful because it's not the team doing it, It's not like the players or the coach making that decision, which makes it a little easier for me to just move on from. Go ahead.
I want to see you playing, obviously, as your friend for a lot long time. I don't know what I'm saying right there. I don't know. A lot longer of a time. Sorry, I'm just fried.
We're only allowed to do one episode a week, or else we all just break.
I'm just fried. What am I talking about? But I mean, you keep mentioning it. You as a coach would be interesting. That does seem to be like your next step that you have in your mind. You've mentioned it multiple times to me offline as well. That seems to be your natural progression. I do think North America needs some more damn coaches because we keep importing Brazilian ones and European ones. So give me some red, white, and blue. Yeah. I mean, hopefully that doesn't come anytime soon, but it would be very interesting to see you in the coach role. And I wonder how that would look in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I've been under some great coaches, so I feel like I can just steal all the good things from each one, and then make it my own.
You'll be yelling at people like Fabian? Is that what you're taking? Or
if I have to. I don't know if I get as loud as him, but I'll try my best.
I'd be very curious to see what you look like when you yell. Because I can't see it, man. I cannot see it.
Yeah. I don't yell often. I'm sure I'm pretty scary when I yell, though.
People who never get upset and then they get upset, that's frightening, man.
Yeah.
Because they only bring it out when it's big. Like,
I don't think I've ever seen Matt mad. I've known you, since you were 17. I can't think of a time you actually got upset or mad. So that would be terrifying.
Usually when I get mad, it's at my cousins or my brothers. That's about it.
You just direct all your anger at Nick's?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes he pisses me off. I used to have fist fights with my brother.
Yeah, family stuff's different though, man. I have friends that are like the most passive, softest people alive, and then they'll like beat the shit out of their siblings, but like in a loving way, not like a dangerous way.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thank you for joining us for this emergency episode. We Among Us called an emergency meeting because we wanted to talk to you. And I really appreciate you coming on. Again, would love to have met you under different circumstances, but I appreciate just from like a human perspective. What? You
just met him? Did you?
No, like
just saying,
like met him for this show. Like would have liked to have had him on here. Like,
all right, I understood.
Viewer, just so you guys know, this is INTERRO's first time actually meeting Hotandcold. All right, continue on. I just giving context to the viewer.
I know. No, I mean, obviously it would be great to have you on the show when you're not getting dropped, but both times that you've come on here, I'm always impressed with your ability to keep it together. And even when, you said it wasn't hell, I said that mostly for dramatics, but obviously you didn't have a good day yesterday. I think that's pretty okay to say. And that's fine, and it sucks. It sucks because this is a job and this is a sport. And sometimes people like teams move on, players move on, and that always is tough. But I think you're one of those guys that when you're ready to call it, it'll be your decision. And I think your next steps will be your decision. And that is in a way, obviously not great circumstances, but that is obviously a privilege because there's lots of players that don't get to make that decision, right? There's lots of guys who think there's still time left on the clock and there isn't. And they don't get to make that decision and there's no backup. So I think for you, you're one of the most notorious and successful players in the history of this esport. I do not think we have seen the last of you, whether it's as a competitor, whether it's as a coach, whether it's as a streamer. I think honestly, the world is yours to conquer. And, it's been a real pleasure being able to share these, 2-ish hours with you. And I'm very excited to see what's next. And I think Mint probably feels the same.
I'll be seeing Kyle real soon.
I enjoyed meeting you for the first time today, Matt. Thanks for hopping on the show with us.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, you're a very nice guy. Do you have a stash right now? Yeah, you have a nice stash.
If you want to run it back on Unwanted, like I might know a couple people. We could get another at top 4.
You want to go to 100 Thieves with me?
I think we can get another run is what I'm saying.
Come over to 100 Thieves, Kyle.
Oh, you're going to offer me a spot.
That's not even my team.
On a team. Wait, did we just leak something here?
No, I'm just kidding.
He's not even on the team. He's not even on the team. Rosters. Can I have one? Am I allowed? Can I?
We got a professional
for a jersey. Also for a jersey.
We need some cheerleaders.
I can put my hair up and
probably use those as pom poms.
For those of you that made it all the way to the end of the show, thank you so much for watching. I know it is a bit unorthodox that we had an episode in the middle of the week, especially when we dropped one a couple days ago and are having a super show in about 72 hours. That admittedly, the super show is not going to go live for a little bit longer, so you've got some time to wait. Hopefully this will tide you over. For those of you that did make it this far, as always, thanks so much for your viewership. Like, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff, and I hope you enjoy the show. On behalf of myself and Mint, Fett, who wasn't available for this episode, Hotan, obviously, for joining us, producer David in his Lamborghini, and last, Free Nation. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you on the next show.